47, 43, 6, 29. Thanks for playing the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Welcome to Philadelphia Live, you guys. My name is Judea Murray, and we're starting our show off tonight with some breaking news. You've probably seen it all over social media at this point, but we just got news that Kyle Busch, the famous NASCAR driver, has died, and he was only 41 years old, you guys. This news kind of came as a shock to the world. I mean, everybody's been weighing in, from other NASCAR racers to NASCAR itself. Earlier today, Fox News was actually reporting that Busch had been hospitalized, which is why this is so mind-boggling to a lot of people. We knew that he wasn't feeling very well. He actually had a race recently where you could hear him calling into the box and saying that he wasn't feeling so hot. I think he actually used the word sinus cold at the time. His family admitted that he had a severe illness, that he was going to need treatment, and as I mentioned, Fox News said that he was in the hospital earlier. Now, during his last race on May 10th, that is when we got that notification that he said that he was feeling some sort of issue with his sinuses. He still went on, though, to finish that race in 8th place, which I think just speaks to the kind of vigor that this guy had, you know? Busch, at 41, was a two-time Cup champion and probably a future Hall of Famer. He's been in the Cup Series since 2004. He made 762 career starts with 63 wins. He won the championship in 2015 and 2019 and has 234 victories across all 3 NASCAR National Series. So you're seeing NASCAR posting about how they're saddened and heartbroken to share the news of his passing on X. They've also posted on Instagram, and as you can see from the comments, people are just bewildered that something like this happened so quickly. Now, his family has asked for privacy at this time. NASCAR also posted another post on their X account in which they talked about what he meant to the entire organization. And I quote, "Our entire NASCAR family is heartbroken by the loss of Kyle Busch, a future Hall of Famer. Kyle was a rare talent, one who comes along once in a generation. He was fierce, he was passionate, he was immensely skilled, and he cared deeply about the sport and fans. Throughout a career that spanned more than 2 decades, Kyle set records in National Series wins, won championships at NASCAR's highest level, and fostered the next generation of drivers as an owner in the Truck Series. His sharp wit and competitive spirit sparked a deep emotional connection with race fans of every age, creating the proud and loyal Rowdy Nation. Our thoughts are with Samantha, Brexton, and Lennox, Kyle and Samantha's parents, Kurt and all of Kyle's family, Richard and Judy Childress, everyone at Richard Childress Racing, his teammates, friends, and fans. NASCAR lost a giant of a sport today, far too soon. During this incredibly difficult time, we ask everyone to respect the family's privacy and continue to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Further updates will be shared as appropriate." So you all, we are closely monitoring this situation. I mean, even here in the newsroom, when that news broke out, it was silent. And then everybody was like, what happens now? I mean, we were expecting that he wasn't going to race this weekend. There was a race that was coming up, Coca-Cola 600. We knew because he was sick he wasn't going to appear in that race. We weren't expecting that we weren't going to see him racing on the track ever again. And so again, we're hearing from NASCAR, we're hearing from other people that his family wants to be left alone at this point in time. They're just trying to come to grips with what happened. Now, we're going to be talking about his life, his legacy, his impact on the sport, and all of the people who are coming up behind him. Later on, we'll be talking with our sports team. We also have an exciting interview with a fellow NASCAR racer. So keep in mind that that's still in our back pockets, and we have a lot of big news to get you through, everything happening from around the tri-state. So if I didn't introduce myself properly at the beginning of this live stream, I'm Judea Murray. This is Philadelphia Live. We are based in the city of Philadelphia, but we talk about news in South Jersey, in Delaware. We bring you national news, and sometimes if it warrants it, we bring you international news as well. If it's breaking, if it's live, we got you. We go there. We also talk about weather. Again, as you could see, we even talk about sports. We talk about a little bit of everything. But what makes this so unique is that this is an interactive news program. So you actually get to influence what we talk about here. We have a live stream chat on social media. You might be watching us on the Fox Local app. If you've got a question, you want me to ask something to a reporter because you need that answer, or maybe there's a trending topic out there and I just haven't gotten to it just yet, you really want me to dive a little deeper, that is where we can do this. All you got to do is hit me up in the live chat and we'll be talking more about it. So I see some people writing in already, many prayers for Samantha and their children. Someone said sad news. You guys keep the comments coming. We'll continue to touch base on everything that happened with Kyle Busch in just a little while. But here in Philadelphia, yesterday was a pretty nasty night. We saw some rain earlier today. I just want to know how long that's going to stay with us, because Memorial Day weekend is coming up. A lot of people got plans. A lot of people trying to hit the roads. Let's get right out to Drew Anderson bringing us the latest in our forecast. Drew, what you got cooking up there in the skies?
I can cook it up a lot of stuff. I wish I had a little magic potion to go and get rid of that green for you. Don't work like that, all right? Don't work like that. Hey, I'm hopping on the socials too. If you want to reach out to me, talk some weather, know about your backyard, I'm at Drew Forecast on all the socials. You name it. TikTok, Instagram, X. I got X up right now. IG, I'm waiting for you. So you can even slip into my DMs. We'll talk some weather. Hey, let's get into weather. So yeah, last night, gosh, we had a monsoon around dinner time out where I live in Chester County. It was coming down like I haven't seen come down in a long time. It all started with strong wind gusts. Some of those wind gusts were so strong down the road from where I live in Montgomery County, it actually brought some whole trees down. See, when you get wind gusts around 80 miles an hour, that's a really good speed, 80, 90, up to 100 miles an hour, to totally blow a whole tree down. I mean, like uproot the thing and make it come down. And at the top of our 5 and 6 o'clock news, we showed some footage of how a tree got uprooted and fell on a home. That's our biggest risk in our area, in parts of the Philly area, also New Jersey, as well as Delaware, for when we get severe weather, and we have really strong wind gusts or even a weak tornado, it's for trees getting uprooted and falling on homes. That's always my biggest concern. If I hear a tornado warning, I'm like, all right, let me just get off the first story. I'm not worried about a big monster tornado like they have out in the plains. That's so rare for this area. So that's something to keep in mind when you get a severe thunderstorm warning to your phone, or even a tornado warning. That is the biggest potential because we have such big trees here. And on average, when we do get a tornado, the wind speeds are around, say, like 100 miles an hour. And it's just really good at uprooting trees. You'd think you'd need much stronger winds to uproot a tree, but no, that's not the case. When you have winds much stronger, you snap a tree. All right, enough about yesterday's weather. Let's just get into it today. It was coming down pretty good at lunchtime. Here's Old Doppler radar. You get the vibes of what's going on right there. Still some showers drifting over us, but not as heavy as they once were. And you see how the green's broken up a little bit? You see how there's some gaps in the green? So there'll be more of these scattered showers as the night goes on. Let's walk through the forecast throughout the rest of the night. And of course, the holiday weekend. I'm going to get you up to date on all of that. So it goes like this. Let's swing it over to our other graphic system, and I want to give you a feel of some of the current conditions out our door. Our numbers right now, a lot of spots still in the 50s. We're at 60 degrees in Philadelphia and in Northeast Philadelphia right now. And here's what you can do planning ahead. As we look into the night and we check the radar, we're going to see some more green show up in South Jersey and in Delaware as the evening goes on. Now, these showers are going to hang out over the night in Delaware and South Jersey, and there's even still a couple left over first thing in the morning, like around 6 a.m., just in those spots. So down the shore, it's a little wet to start our Friday. Now, watch this hour by hour as we take you right through the rest of Friday. Not bad, right? It's chilly and it's cloudy, but for most of the day, it is dry. Now, there's a catch, all right? I want you to see right there on the bottom part of your screen, look at the time at the top of your screen. So you see 4 o'clock right up there? At the bottom, After dinner time, rain's going to start coming up. So South Jersey, Delaware, during the evening, during dinner time, you're going to get some rain. Eventually, it's going to sneak into Philadelphia. And we got some stuff going on in Philadelphia on Friday. That'd be a Phillies game that has the first pitch at 6:40. Temperature-wise, until we get there, another cold day, numbers in the low 60s. And I want to show you the reason why. It's that airflow that's coming in off the ocean. We're going to keep it a little chilly as we roll into Saturday, even colder too. We're stuck in the 50s, and it's rainy. Saturday is a total wash. Saturday's your day to go check out some of the movies at the theater or just stay in, watch the stream. You don't want to do anything outside on Saturday. That is the worst day of the holiday weekend. Then slowly, we got some improvements. Take a look at Sunday's forecast. We start out wet in the morning, but then in the afternoon, we will be dry. The temperature, we're going to nudge it up a little bit. We will be right in the low 60s for the high. Then, for Memorial Day Monday, how are we looking? We're looking not bad. Now, I will admit, I'm going a little optimistic. But I'm saying looking dry for a reason. We'll fine-tune the forecast, but as of right now, I'm going with dry for Memorial Day. But I want to give you a little behind-the-scenes weather-wise of what's going on. The European Future Radar, which is usually the most accurate, wants it dry on Monday. But the other two don't want it dry. The American Future Radar and the Canadian want a little rain. To me, it makes more sense that drier weather to build in, and the models are picking up on temperatures in the 70s. That would imply drier weather to me. So I want to go with dry for Monday. Now, you could argue it's wishful thinking, and I'm not going to lie, it is a little bit. But when I put all those pieces together, to me, that's what makes the most sense for the forecast on Monday. But give us another day or two to keep an eye on it, fine-tune it. But it's looking dry for now on Memorial Day. Looks cloudy with just a tease of sun, a little break or two of sun through those clouds. And that's how it's looking. I'll bring it all down the 7-day forecast. So most of us dry for most of the day on Friday. The exceptions will be in the evening when some rain starts moving up into parts of Delaware and South Jersey, eventually getting into Philly like around 9, 10 o'clock. So the last couple innings of the Phillies game tomorrow, we have potential for some showers to roll in. Saturday's a wash. You want to be inside, it's cold. We have airflow coming off the ocean. That's why it's so chilly. That's why it's cold Friday and Saturday. The ocean temperature is around 60. The air's coming in from over the ocean, and that ocean temperature is cooling the air above it. And if that's the air we're getting to come inland, that's why our temperatures are on the lower side, and it's feeling more like the fall than it is summer after the first heat wave of 2026. And your Sunday we go. It's a wet morning if you're stepping out to services or for breakfast, but then we salvage the second half of the day. After lunchtime, totally dry, just cloudy, a little chilly too with numbers only in the mid-60s. Monday, 70 degrees with clouds throughout the day. Tuesday, still a lot of clouds around, but just a break or sun here or there. That'll get us to near average. Mid-70s is what's typical for this time of the year. And then, looking good for Wednesday and Thursday. You give us some sun, we'll give you some 80s. So that is what's ahead. Not a perfect weekend, but at least, Judea, it's not a wash the whole weekend. Just Saturday. That one's the thumbs down.
We will take it. Drew, I love when you do the weather. The way you break things down is so like user friendly, and it just is really good. But I want to let you know you got some fans in the chat already.
All right, I'll hop on my DMs and I'll go into my Twitter. You know, I said, hey, I'm watching, I'm monitoring the sources. What are you hearing, Judea?
Well, but we'll get into that in a second. But I mean, just looking at what you had for us, when you said Monday might be dry, I mean, I'm crossing my fingers.
I believe it is.
Who are hoping to get out there on the roads are hoping that it will be as well. So you may have just given us like a little glimmer of hope that we needed.
Take it. I'm buying that it's dry. I really believe it'll be that case. But, you know, if 2 out of 3 future radars want some rain and 1 doesn't, I can't just pick the one that I want. But it just makes sense to me that we would be in the drier end of the weekend at that point from Sunday afternoon on. So I believe it. We'll see what happens.
All right, you know we're going to be checking in with you throughout the evening, so if anything changes, please let us know first.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, how about next hour? Why don't we talk about the hurricane forecast? So just today, NOAA released the hurricane forecast. I'll let you know if they're expecting things to be above average, below average for hurricanes, and we can get into some of the science of that. You want to do that next hour?
Absolutely. Thank you for
I'm
offering
in.
it. All right, see you in about an hour or so, Drew. And you guys, I mean, we have been talking about what the weather is going to be like because some of you are going to be getting out there. And I say some, but we're actually hearing it's going to be about 45 million Americans deciding if they're going to drive, if they're going to fly, maybe even take a boat. But everything that they're doing for their Memorial Day plans. I want to get right out to Chris O'Connell, who has honestly been keeping his ear to the ground and his eyes on the road. What's it looking like out there? How can we get ourselves ready for traveling?
Well, get on the road early. I think that's the plan for most people. And some of those people already headed up, getting an early start on their Memorial Day weekend holiday. A lot of them hitting the roads today. We spent the last couple hours driving from Philly to the Atlantic City Expressway and catching up with travelers. We made a stop at the Frank Farley Service Plaza. That is a favorite stop on the Atlantic City Expressway. Getting a feel for people who are on the roads this weekend. They got two things against them this weekend, and that is the weather. We're out here on the Ocean City Boardwalk. We finally made it down here. You can see some of the early arrivals here. You're getting that feel summer is getting ready to pop. The crowds aren't just here yet. The weather's not there yet, but things are starting. Some of the boardwalk stores are open. Manco here open. That's pretty much open all year round. But you're starting to see some of those crowds come in. But the other thing we have against us this weekend, gas prices are now $4.50 plus a gallon nationally. Frank Farley, it was $4.60 a gallon. So despite the fact we're at near record gas prices, we're still seeing people travel. They don't care. They want to get on the roads. They want to get there. We're still going to see a record number of travelers this weekend, 35 million AAA. Estimating will hit the roads this holiday weekend despite the high cost of gas, despite the weather, and we caught up with a bunch of them. You'll hear from them tonight at 10 o'clock. I think, again, for people around here, the start of the summer, you're getting that, the first weekend. Unfortunately, we see this a lot over the history of Memorial Day weekend. Sometimes it tends to be on the rainy side. So not what we want to see, is certainly not what the business owners here want to see, or the people who have interest down here, down the shore. But regardless, people are off. They're going to take advantage. The few things I'm hearing people are going to be doing this weekend, because they're not going to be going here. They're not going on to the beach. What will they be doing? I've been asking people. They're going to be staying in, playing card games. They're playing board games. They're going to be playing drinking games, and maybe headed to the boardwalk if it doesn't rain too much.
Oh, Lord, not the drinking games. Chris, you're giving the people ideas. I was wondering because, okay, we just talked to Drew, and he mentioned that the weather should be maybe even dry on Monday itself. We're not talking about Saturday. We're not talking about Sunday. That might be a wash. But Monday, he was thinking it might be dry. And so then I'm wondering, could we see people hitting the beach? Possibly.
Maybe, but if it's not a beach day, they probably won't be. It's still, it's a good 10 degrees cooler and windier down here at the shore. So unless it's sunny, 70 plus degrees down here, it's probably not going to be a beach day. But again, we got all summer. And keep in mind, it's still 25, 6, 7 days until the official start of summer. So we got all summer to hit the boards.
We got all summer, baby. And it's so interesting that we are still so far away from summer, because just experiencing those 90 degree days, it felt like we were definitely in the throes of it already. But we got to remember, we are still very much so in spring. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I wish we could have had those 90-degree weather this weekend. But hey, you take what Mother Nature gives you.
Yep, we won't complain. Chris, thank you so much for walking us through everything that's happening out there, also giving us some ideas for what we can do. That was actually our question of the night. Last night, we were asking everybody, because the weather might not be in your favor, what were you going to do? We saw a lot of people, just like Chris said, saying that they were going to stay home, saying that they were going to make some other plans. Well, we'll get back into the Memorial Day rush in just a little bit, but we also have to talk about something very important, and we're going to take a break before we do that. But while you're getting ready to get there out on the road, maybe you're making some plans to do those, maybe even those drinking games as we mentioned, I want you to remember that if you have children or you're entrusting your children with someone else to get them home, it's very important that they take that final look in the back seat before they get out of it. we are seeing far too many hot car deaths. And we'll be talking with an expert pretty soon about how you may be able to make sure that that's not your reality, but also, how to spot, how to make sure that, or how to know if your car is that dangerous spot for kids. We'll be talking about all of this and more when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. You guys, let me paint you a picture. It's Memorial Day weekend. You decided to take a trip to visit your sister and you brought the kids. And the weather is pretty yucky outside, so you guys decide that you're gonna, watch some movies, play some games, and you throw back a couple of cold ones. And then it's time to go home. You realize that you've drank a little too much, so someone else is driving, and things are just a little different in your setup. Put the kids in the car, you guys get in the car, and you head on your way home. But you get to the house, you decide that you're done. You go inside. The other person who was driving is not used to having kids. They don't have kids, so they didn't think to check the back seat. They get out the car too. It's not that warm outside, but in just an hour, that temperature inside that single vehicle can jump up. We're talking about like tens of digits. And all of a sudden, in just a couple of hours, you no longer have your child with you. That, unfortunately, is a reality for many people. And while we're approaching this holiday weekend, I want to make sure that it's not going to be you. So brought in an expert. We've got somebody representing kids and car safety. This is Jeanette Fennell. She is the president and founder. Jeanette, you've seen cases like this way too often. I mean, just this week, what were we hearing about? 3 children have died in the proximity of just 24 hours?
Yes, it's been particularly fatal, and that's a lot of deaths in just 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what I seem to see is a lot of people, they see stories like this, their eyes gloss over because they think to themselves, well, that will never be me. And unfortunately, that right there is the thinking that could make it be you one day. So what would you say to someone who has that kind of confident thought process?
Well, the biggest mistake you can make is thinking that it will never happen to you till it does. But if you put in practice some very simple safety tips that I'm going to give you today, it won't happen to you. But what people don't want to accept is it's really science behind the fact that a child can be left alone in a vehicle. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you want to do is just when you arrive at your destination, get out of the car and open the back door. Doesn't cost you a penny. It's only 3 seconds. And that's when you make sure your baby's not there. Now, to enforce that habit, we tell parents it's a great idea to put a large stuffed animal in the child's car seat. So as soon as you put the baby in the car seat, put that stuffed animal up front in the passenger seat. So when they're riding shotgun, there's a baby in the back. Otherwise, the stuffed animal's in the back. So you kind of want to have that mentality. There's always something in the back seat. The other thing you want to do, and this happens so often, is children are not dropped to daycare as they should, as scheduled. And it's really important to make sure that you have an agreement with your child care provider that if your child does not show up as scheduled, that they will call every emergency contact. And what's so sad about that is hundreds and hundreds of babies would still be alive today if they just got that one call from the caregiver.
That is really sad to hear. Now, I know kids and car safety, you guys have done a lot of your own research to try to move things along when it comes to dealing with our lawmakers, hopefully to get some change with these vehicles and maybe the technology to help out. But one thing that I found really interesting, you guys have seen that just over 50% of the cases that you have looked at, it features parents who are loving, they're caring, they're not neglectful people. So talk to me about how this thing called holiday brain or fog or whatever it may be can come into play on things like Memorial Day weekend.
Well, it's a term I think we all know. It's called autopilot. Have you ever, got on the freeway and missed your exit?
Yes.
Or have you ever put your coffee on top of your car so you could get all your things in your vehicle, and then when you take off, your car gets a very nice coffee bath? It's just out of sight, out of mind. And many years ago, we said children should ride in the back seat, and that's still true. It's safer back there. But then we said, now the babies need to be rear facing, at least till the age of 2. So when we made all those changes, we didn't do anything to understand we're transporting our children differently. Out of sight, out of mind. And that's why if we put those safety tips in play every time, you won't leave the baby alone. And it is the most horrific thing that can happen to any parent.
And I want to point this out too. You guys are seeing that it's not just leaving your kid in the car that can lead to these hot car deaths. What about children finding their way into the car after you've already parked it and you thought you guys were good to go?
That's important. It's about 25% of the situations that happen when children end up dying in a hot car. The first thing we say is always lock your vehicle. Doesn't matter if it's in the driveway, if it's in the garage, it's on the street, make sure that vehicle is locked. Secondly, put those keys out of reach of children. They all love to play with keys. They don't want the little toy keys. They want mom or dad's keys for some reason.
They can tell the difference.
They can, isn't it amazing? They really can, and they want the real thing. But make sure there's no way they can get at those keys. And you never know when they're going to learn how to open the front door or follow behind. And this has happened so frequently that we call it the bye-bye syndrome. And mom or dad is leaving and they want to follow behind, and if they get in that vehicle and there's no adult present, they probably will not be able to get out.
And just to put it in perspective for you guys, I had mentioned that the temperature can really rise quickly. So just do the math with me here. If it's a 72-degree day, within about 60 minutes, that car temperature can climb to over 100 degrees. So this is very easy to happen, very quickly it happens. You just need to be aware. And Jeanette, thank you so much for giving us some of those tips. If any of you guys out there watching us, we actually got a comment here. Someone says they love your glasses and that they have them. But if anybody was really interested in the topic that we were talking about here, you can find out so much more. kidsincars.org. They've got a lot of information, a lot of research that they've done already. And also, if you'd like to know a little bit more about what they're doing in Congress, that'll help you out as well. Jeanette, again, thank you for the time with us.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, we're trying to keep you guys safe this holiday weekend. We want you to have fun as well. So we're going to keep this ball rolling. More things to get through today. You know, the FIFA World Cup is coming up. I've been telling everybody we have fever here at Fox 29 and really all of the Foxes. We're going to be talking pretty soon with the Fox News reporter who's going to talk us through some of the other people on our team who will be helping bringing us that live coverage when the games happen. We'll get to it in just a second. Welcome to Philadelphia Live. My name is Judea Murray. We are still following that breaking tragic news of the loss of Kyle Busch, famous NASCAR driver who unfortunately has died at the age of 41. You guys, we are going to continue this conversation. I want to let you know still ahead, we'll be talking to another NASCAR driver, someone who looked up to Kyle. He'll tell us a little bit more about what his life, what his legacy, what all of his accomplishments have meant for him as he's trying to make his way through NASCAR. We'll also be talking with our sports team a little later on as well, just to talk a little bit more about who this guy was, the kind of racer that he was, and why the community is so heartbroken over this loss. But what I can tell you is that this news came as an absolute shock to everyone. Fox News had been reporting about it just earlier today, like literally a couple of hours ago. They had said that he was being taken to the hospital. According to his family, he wasn't feeling so well. We actually heard on May 10th there was a race where he had told officials, you could like literally hear him calling up to the box to say it, that he had been suffering from some sort of sinus issue. Now during that race, he actually still had made it to 8th place, which I said before really speaks to kind of the kind of determination that this guy had, which of course makes him a champion. So his family admitted that the illness that he was facing was severe, that he was going to need some treatment, and then hours later we get this news that he has passed away. The family has already asked that everyone respect their privacy. If you guys are fans of his I would love if you let me know in the comment section. I'm reading your comments live. I can give you shout outs if you would like. Busch, though, he was a 2-time Cup champion and was going likely one day to become a Hall of Famer. He's probably very close to it. He's been in the Cup Series since 2004. He's made 762 career starts with 63 wins. He won the championship in 2015, 2019. Like, do I have to go on? This guy was a beast. So again, the NASCAR world is 100% mourning his loss. Again, we're all just trying to come to grips with what happened. NASCAR put out their own statement. I read it a little earlier, but if you guys are just now joining me, I'd love to bring it out to you again. NASCAR said on X, our entire NASCAR family is heartbroken by the loss of Kyle Busch, future Hall of Famer. Kyle was a rare talent, one who comes along once in a generation. He was fierce. He was passionate. He went on to say he was immensely skilled and he cared deeply about the sports and fans. Throughout a career that spanned more than 2 decades, Kyle set records in national wins, won championships at NASCAR's highest level, and fostered the next generation of drivers as an owner in the Truck Series. This statement goes on to say his sharp wit and competitive spirit sparked a deep emotional connection with race fans of every age, creating the proud and loyal Rowdy Nation. Our thoughts are with Samantha, Brexton, and Lennox, Kyle and Samantha's parents, Kurt and all of Kyle's family, Richard and Judy Childress, everyone at Richard Childress Racing, his teammates, friends, and fans. NASCAR lost a giant of the sport today far too soon. Now, we also heard from our former sports director here at Fox 29, who actually led one of Kyle's last interviews. He talked about the kind of person he believed him to be when he got that moment to talk to him. I want to let you guys listen into that.
This news about Kyle Busch is unbelievably tragic. I had the pleasure this past weekend of working down in Dover for the Dover Motor Speedway at the All-Star race. And on Saturday, I had a one-on-one interview with Kyle in front of about 1,000, 1,500 people at the racetrack. He could not have been nicer, kinder, more cordial. He had just won the truck race on Friday night, and he hauntingly said after the race, "Trust me, at this point in career, you treasure every win you get even more. Trust me." He said that, and to find out the news that 4 days later, after winning the All-Star race, and after I had this great interview with this guy who has a hard reputation, a very harsh reputation, but he could have not have been nicer, not have been more cordial. To hear this news today is unbelievable for the NASCAR community and the sports community as a whole.
All right, Tom, thank you so much for giving us that little bit there that we were able to bring out to you all. We are going to continue talking about the life and legacy of Kyle Busch. I see you guys are already asking questions in the comments. Please keep them coming because we'll touch base with our sports team in a second. But real quick, I want to bring you out to New York. We've got some news, FIFA World Cup news. I'm hearing that we've actually gotten to meet our Fox News team who's going to help bring us live sports coverage. Amy, welcome on in to Fox 29 Philadelphia Live. Talk to us a little bit about that team.
Today, I got to meet all of them today, and they are some FIFA legends themselves. Some of them have already, we've got people who played in the 1994 game last time FIFA was here in the U.S., and they are all so excited, just as excited as the rest of us, and eagerly counting down those days.
The 2026 World Cup kicking off in just 3 weeks, and excitement is growing for the largest international competition the U.S. has ever hosted. With 48 teams playing 104 matches across 3 countries in 39 days. There's never been a better time to be a fan of the world's most popular sport. And it's an incredible chance to grow the game here in the U.S. The favorites this year are some of the usual suspects.
A cue when it's time for me to talk. The U.S. plays its first match on June 12th against Paraguay, and that is going to be an exciting time, and you can bet on seeing all of that right here on Fox. Back to you, Judea.
We're absolutely looking forward to seeing it as well. Amy, I want to apologize to you. For some reason, we were having some difficulties with your story there, but we did get to hear the gist of it. We got all the nuts and bolts that we need, and we are excited, excited to see when the FIFA World Cup comes our way, especially us here in Philly. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Oh, they got their hands full out there in New York, New Jersey as well. I've been taking a look, peeking in on some of the plans that they have. I mean, we've been talking about how travel is going to be crazy for them, how millions of people, even our foreign friends and family, will be making their way on over here. Here in Philadelphia, they actually even went through some security, what do I want to call it, like yes, training. Thank you very much. Some security training and whatnot. Because we are going to have so many of our foreign friends here who maybe don't speak English. What would happen if they were experiencing some sort of emergency, needed help? Are our law enforcement agents, our emergency first responders, are they ready? Well, time will tell. Oh, so, you know, I mentioned that we are keeping our eyes on everything that's going on with Kyle Busch and Breland Moore. I see her in the wings. Breland, when this news broke, I saw you get on that camera and you were telling everybody everything they needed to know. We've got so many comments. Someone even said their 80-year-old mother is devastated because he was her favorite driver. I mean, what are you seeing this means to the NASCAR community?
I'm going to be very honest with you. It's been a very chaotic several couple minutes here between the 6 o'clock show. I did the 6 right off the top. About 5 minutes after I even learned about it, I was here on this camera doing it, and then I had to race down and do the sports, and then I had to do the Fantastic Sports Show, 30 minutes of a Fantastic Sports Show, essentially, by the seat of my pants, because it's very sudden, it's very breaking. So I have not been online at all. I've been trying to disseminate the information to the good people at home here this entire time. But yeah, it's very shocking, it's very sudden. And I think it will take a little bit for the entirety of the NASCAR universe to process and react to this. But already, you know, on the Fantastic Sports Show, we had pulled several different drivers and just their reaction, the CEO of Charlotte Motor Speedway, NASCAR themselves, just reacting to this. But yeah, really disturbing, really shocking situation here. Kyle Busch just raced in Dover and won the truck race, and he hadn't been feeling very well. There is a video of, and you will of course see that at some point in time, there's a video of him calling for a doctor at Watkins Glen. Do we know that that's even related? No, we have no idea what's going on. He was dealing with some sinus issue there. All of a sudden, earlier today, around 10:30, this family released a statement saying that he has been hospitalized for a severe illness. He will not be racing in Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600 that's coming up this weekend. And then, unfortunately, within 6 hours or so, NASCAR then tweeted out and confirming that he had passed away at the age of 41. We have no idea what has occurred. But yeah, it's definitely sending shockwaves throughout the sports world and beyond, because this is it's a very odd situation that a lot of people are trying to make a lot of sense of right now.
Absolutely. I mean, even you, as you're trying to make this coverage for us, me, as I'm trying to disseminate it out to our audience as well, and of course his family, who we keep hearing they don't want people to be reaching out to them. They're asking for people to just respect their privacy at this point in time. NASCAR is asking for people to do the same thing. I can only imagine that when they do make it public, if he's going to have a funeral services or whatever, fans are probably going to be all over that. It seems to me that he was a very popular driver.
Well, I mean, I think the first order of business that unfortunately NASCAR has to look at is the race this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Coca-Cola 600. I'm sure that there is going to be some sort of tribute or something there. I can't imagine that the funeral would be made public. That usually is not the case with athletes. Maybe, but I severely doubt that. And that's, the family's right on doing that and handling that. But this is something you don't see very often, and especially the nature of it. This was not an accident. This was some sort of illness or some sort of medical issue, according to what we know right now. So yeah, very shocking, but definitely expect a lot of of Kyle Memorial goings on at the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend in Charlotte.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do know they had already said that he, like, even if this wouldn't have happened today, they had already said that he wasn't going to be racing because he was battling this illness, because he had been hospitalized. But I'm interested in seeing how they pay tribute, if they do, during that race as well.
There is no if, they will, absolutely.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to let you get back to learning everything that you can before the 10 o'clock news. Breland, I appreciate you for joining us here on Philadelphia Live. Now, I am seeing that drivers, teammates, everybody is weighing in on social media. I just want to read out some of their names to you all. These might be your favorite drivers as well. There's also going to be a lot of rookies, a lot of people who are just starting out in NASCAR who are letting their feelings, their thoughts be heard. So let's start with Denny Hamlin, who said that he absolutely could not comprehend the news. On X, he said, "We just need to think of his family during this time. We love you, KB." Clint Bowers said, "I just talked to him Friday in complete shock, as we all are. The devastation and sadness is beyond words. Praying for Samantha, Brexton, Lennox, his entire family and loved ones." And then, of course, has posted a photo. And we're also, again, hearing from or seeing responses come in from people who are, just starting out in NASCAR, people who are making their own names, but people who looked up to Kyle. Actually, that's going to be one of our interviews a little later on in this show. LeVar Scott, who's a driver, said that he was lost for words. He was a pure fan, and again, just repeated himself, absolute loss for words, RIP. You guys in our comment section are honestly kind of saying the same thing. So someone said, "When did this happen?" Today. We literally got the notification that he had passed away maybe an hour before this program began at 7 o'clock. Someone asked, how did he die? We don't have that information. What I can tell you is that earlier today, Fox News reported that he had been hospitalized. The family said that it was a severe illness. What this illness is, I am not sure. I don't have that information before me. And right now, the family is asking that we respect their privacy. As I mentioned to Breland, we've got Stephanie, who said that her 80-year-old mother is devastated because he was her favorite driver. He's a lot of people's favorite drivers. And Brandon Harwood said that he could not believe this news. A lot of us, our jaws are on the floor as well. We're all just trying to come to terms with it. As you heard Breland say, she hasn't even gotten a chance to breathe as she's trying to learn everything that she can about this heartbreaking situation. So we will keep you all up to date with everything we know when we know it. If NASCAR puts out any other statements, we'll bring you that as well. And I do understand that perhaps ceremonies aren't always made public, but usually there are celebration of lives, parties, celebrations. There could also maybe even be ride-alongs, drive-bys, where I've seen, at least coming from Atlanta, where sometimes they'll have a police escort and they'll have all of the cars from the teammates, people who loved him, people who cared about him, maybe even some hot rods. Sometimes they'll have those ride-alongs on the highway and thruway just to show their support for the family. So what I'm getting at is I'm interested in seeing how the community outpours their love and support for Kyle Busch and his family, however they may choose to do that, whether it's online or in person or, anything else, maybe even starting a charity or foundation in his name, who knows. So that, again, we're keeping our eyes on everything that's happening. And with that being said, we're going to take a quick step back. When we come back, I want to bring up Jake Leonard to talk to you all about, what's Philly talking about, what's trending out there. Obviously, Kyle Busch is probably the #1 trending topic everywhere. But some of the other stories that you guys are clicking on, watching, reading, all of that. We'll get into it and more when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. We got a lot of big news, a lot of breaking news, a lot of live things happening this hour, but I also want to bring you to some exciting news. Earlier today, we finally got the lineup, this star-studded lineup for July 4th. I actually had to bring up somebody to the desk to talk to me about it because, like, when I saw the notification through the free Fox Local app, I said, Christina Aguilera? What? Sorry, I'm screaming in the air. I apologize. I just get really excited, you guys. So we got this lineup.
Yes, it is so exciting. You know, everyone is hyping up July 4th. It's America 250, birthplace. You know, it's going to be a huge deal in Philly. And so we got this lineup today happening on the Parkway. It's called One Philly United. It brings together multiple artists. It's hosted by the legendary Wanda Sykes. I won't spoil the entire lineup. You're going to have to check it out on our website, fox29.com. But like you said, Christina Aguilera is the headline. We may have some other Philly legends, maybe Jill Scott, maybe Will Smith. I don't know. You're going to have to check it out for yourself. Maybe The Roots. I don't know, but it's going to be awesome.
Beautiful. You know, a lot of us aren't going to get to, like, you know, for the Roots picnic, a lot of us don't have tickets just yet. So to go to an event like this, which we know is free, they're making sure you know it's free. There's stuff that's going to be happening all day long. Like, they're making this a very big deal. They want you to know Philly is the place to be.
Yes, it's going to be a huge deal, and it seems like people are really excited about it. You know, we always do our poll question for the night. Yes, so we have one right now, fox29.com/go vote under the Fox Local tab. We're asking, what do you think of the July 4th concert lineup? So right now, yes, 51%, 37% of people are disappointed, and 12% are mixed. I'm not sure, leave a comment. So the people that aren't saying they're super happy or like, oh, I wish it was this person or this person. But, you know, people are always going to be unsatisfied with a lineup like this. But I think it's great.
Everyone, but I do feel like they have someone for everyone.
Yes, I think they have different genres. I think they do a really good job. Different audiences they're bringing in. So whatever, it's going to be a great celebration. It's a great time to be in Philly. You couldn't have moved here at a better time. So.
I'm interested in knowing, for the people who said that they weren't excited about this night, like, who would they want to?
Earlier I heard people saying Sabrina Carpenter. Some people were saying, oh, Taylor Swift. People,
I know y'all gonna get Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I think people were just kind of leaning into whoever is from Philly, from the area. But I don't know. I think it's a really great lineup, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are going to get out there. A lot of you guys are excited to see the fireworks shows. This will be my first 4th of July in Philadelphia. And actually, I heard from a little birdie that I may be hosting a special live stream on the 4th of July. So I would love to see you guys. For those of you who aren't going out and about, I understand if being out on the 4th of July is anything like experiencing New Year in Times Square, then I understand why people aren't going. But
it's gonna be crazy.
So if you're looking for something to watch, if you need somebody to entertain you and bring you all the news, Judea Moran,
right here.
Absolutely. Okay, Jake, we also normally talk to you about what's trending. Maybe we can get into that next time I see you.
Yes, of course.
Okay, beautiful, because I know there are a lot of stories.
A lot is going on right now.
Yes. Including, of course, we're keeping our eyes on everything. Kyle Busch. Now, again, I see you guys commenting in the chat. Keep that going. We're able to read your comments live, maybe even give you all shout outs if you would like that, or ask questions. That helps us. That helps us get out to our reporters. And just so we can tease some stuff coming ahead, Jake, I'll see you in a little bit. I got a lot coming for you in the next hour. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to turn things over. We are going to hear from this meeting. The mayor normally has her budget meeting, but I hear that this one in particular may be crashed by some protesters. We'll get into what's making them so upset. What are they hoping to be heard about with our Dawn Timoney? Also want to let you know that we've got a big interview coming up. I heard that Delaware, the House, has actually voted to move forward with this whole thing. It's called reverse keyword search. We'll be talking about what that is, why that should matter to you as a citizen of the United States or citizen of Delaware with a data privacy expert. And then, of course, I keep mentioning that we're going to have that interview pretty soon with a NASCAR driver, someone who looked up to Kyle, who's heartbroken by this news. He'll be able to tell us a little bit more about what he meant to him. We have a lot of stuff coming up for you in the next hour. We will be right back. Welcome to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. We got a lot to talk to you about in this hour as well. We had a heavy top of the show. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to get better and better, so stick with us. I heard that there was a meeting that was supposed to take place today. Usually the mayor, Philadelphia mayor, has her budget hearings or meetings, and she likes to talk about what she plans ahead of time for the city of Philadelphia. But this one in particular was supposed to be crashed by some protesters. I want to get out to Dawn Timoney. Dawn, have you been keeping your eyes on this? Did that actually happen?
Well, Judea, we were at Mayor Parker's. It was a town hall in Kensington to talk about her budget. There were also all kinds of city resources there for residents to come out and learn more from all her various cabinets and offices. And so outside, they didn't actually crash the meeting, but outside as people were coming in, and it was very well attended. A group of people from Chester, they organized, and they were holding signs and a banner demanding that Philadelphia stop incinerating its trash in Chester. If we can take a little look at some video we shot earlier of, it was a small but very determined and passionate crowd of people standing in the rain. It's not a very nice night out there. And they're upset because Philadelphia sends roughly 40% of its trash to Reworld Incinerator, and it is actually the nation's largest trash incinerator. And it burns roughly 3,500 tons of trash daily. In a predominantly black and brown community, this community is challenged with poverty issues and ongoing concerns about the environmental impact from this incinerator. And we spoke to an older woman who's lived in Chester for a long time and lives very close to the incinerator. And she wants this to stop. And when you hear what she has to say, you'll understand why.
Stop sending trash to Chester. I live 2 blocks from the incinerator, so every night I hear the noise from the incinerator. I smell the smoke. I come out, my home windows, my cars, everything is covered. I have 14 homes on my block, and in those 14 homes, 12 people have died of cancer, and this is within the last 4 years. The youngest in my family died, a 6-day-old baby girl born with lung defects that they did not detect. They sent her home. They did autopsy, just said there was no answer for it, undetectable cancer. I stand here with 8 nodules in my lungs that I take medication every day for. I've had several internal surgeries from my organs. Within a matter of 4 months, I had 2 cousins that died from cancer, detected at the last minute, just gone. My mother, aunts, cousins, my family is just going downhill, okay? And if we can shut this incinerator down, that's not bringing my family lives back, but it's saving lives of others.
Now, Chester residents concerned for quality living are the organizers of this meeting, and they are pushing for a bill called Stop Trashing Our Air Act. It's Bill 250768, which would ban Philadelphia from burning its trash in Chester and move the process to a landfill, which they say, obviously, there are environmental concerns about that, but they say it's a lot better. These residents are concerned, Judea, about the quality of their air. They say cancer is rampant, as you heard from that woman, Eleanor Brown. They say cancer is rampant in Chester, and so they're pushing for council and the mayor to sign this bill. The mayor has, in the past, not really been in favor of this, so they're, that's why they were out there hoping to get their voices heard. Right now, it seems as though that the city wants to study incineration versus landfills. And the current contract with ReWorld Incinerator ends on June 30th. This bill that these residents are pushing for seems to be stalled, so there's no movement on it. So, residents are concerned about their quality of life. They're concerned about their air quality. They're concerned about air pollution, noise pollution, their health. And that's why they were out there tonight hoping that other residents would hear them as they were going in. And interestingly, we talked to a young man from Philadelphia who said, we're not that far away from Chester. Air quality, we're right there. So if their air is not good, our air is not good. So in the end, he was saying, we're all impacted by this incineration process. It's in Philly's, it's practically in Philly's backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's start with, those are some serious allegations from that woman, that particularly her family members, the people that she knows. She's saying that they have died from cancer, and maybe trying to link that to what's going on with the incinerator. And you can tell just how hurt she is, because she's not even crying at this point. It's like that calm, but you probably know people who can do this, that calm, yet you can tell there's anger somewhere deep down.
Right, and we did speak with the organizer, and she was a little bit more vocal, if you will. She was angry and frustrated and also lost family members to cancer, and is attributing it to the air quality and the effects of the incinerator being in Chester. And it's the nation's largest incinerator. And this has been a topic of discussion. It's been an issue for some time. Philadelphia used to incinerate its trash and stopped, and is now sending its trash to be incinerated in Chester. They're hoping that that their voices are going to be heard. City Councilwoman Jamie Gauthier is someone that is backing this group and has been trying to help them get their voices heard and to stop the city from incinerating its trash. We did reach out to her office tonight, but we haven't heard back. We're trying to figure out exactly what's happening next. This group, Circle, says that they believe that the city's contract with the incinerator ends June 30th, and they believe that the city has extended it for another year while it tries to figure out long-term what it's going to do, which would be have a long-term renewal with the incinerator or potentially use a landfill. So we're still trying to figure out kind of where everything stands. But in the meantime, these residents say their health is declining, they're losing family members, they're frustrated, and Chester is dealing with poverty and all kinds of issues, and they feel like they're being dumped on.
I understand that sentiment. I understand completely. Dawn, thank you so much for getting this out to us. I know you're working on this for the 10 o'clock news, so we're expecting to see you a little later on with that full story. A lot of people are interested in this, so I appreciate you giving us what you could here in Philadelphia Live.
Sure. Thanks, Judea.
No problem. All right, you guys, and we've got another big story coming up. While we talked with what's going on in Pennsylvania, and something that residents here might be worried about, I want to bring things over to Delaware. So when I was getting ready for today, one thing that I normally do, I look at some of the biggest headlines from all the different parts of our tri-state area. And I heard a couple of days ago, Delaware House had actually moved to pass a bill. It's called Wilson-Atten Bill to prohibit reverse keyword warrants. So I was like, well, what's that? What's a reverse keyword warrant? And essentially, I'm going to have an expert talk about this and help us break it down, but if I can give you like the most elementary level version of what I believe this to be, we already know that when the police are looking for a suspect, usually they go down like the rabbit hole of the different pieces of evidence they have, or maybe they've got a description. So they're looking for a needle in a haystack, right? Well, in this case, everything is turned upside down. For a person who is, let's say, maybe you just so happen to search something after watching like a true crime documentary. It's possible that something that you searched on Google or any other search engine could be used against you. So we'll talk about that with Harry Magas, who's joining us from Privacy Bee. He's the CEO and also the founder. Harry, you deal with a lot of data privacy, help people learn how to erase their digital footprint, but also just how to be smarter online. And when I saw this headline and got to learn it a little bit more, the very first person I thought to talk to was you. So can I try to give that elementary level version of what reverse keyword searches are, what the warrant would be about, but can you give us a more intelligent version of it?
Sure. No, that was a great summary. So a lot of it is, the question is how heavy-handed the government's being with data and how much privacy people are receiving when they, are not actively being targeted by a federal investigation or a local investigation. So the whole concept of a warrant is when police are trying to verify specific data or do an investigation on a single subject. If you go back, I think it's about 5 or 10 years ago, there was a big news story around tower dumping, if you remember that, where police would go to a cell phone provider like an AT&T or Verizon and say, give us all the data from a specific cell phone tower on this day or this time range. And it was a massive amount of data. Then they would sort through it and try to find the person they wanted. This current geofencing reverse warrants, this is essentially an evolution of tower dumping. This is the digital equivalent, right? Where now they can go to Google and say, give us all the information you have of people within this specific geographical radius. And then the police or the authorities will sort through all the data they get, try to find the suspect or the subject of their investigation.
So I understand in a way how this would be helpful to law enforcement as they're trying to narrow down their searches to find the person that they're looking for in particular. But for the average American, the average citizen, why would this be something that is a little more concerning?
Oh, it's terrifying. It's an Orwellian future if we're not careful. So the issue is not just that single geofence data grab where the government's getting, hey, these are all the people in this area, or the people who are returned, maybe there's thousands of people coming back in a specific reverse warrant situation. The risk is that data is not ephemeral. It's not used one time for one investigation and then thrown away. The data is stored because of the Freedom of Information Act, right? Because of how government record keeping happens, they store the data. That could be cross-referenced later on. That could be proof that you're at that specific area. What if the government is researching a person who happens to be next door to a big political rally? They might get a whole bunch of data from people not part of the investigation, but they know we're at a specific location at a specific time. Or what if there's an abortion clinic next door or other sensitive type facilities? That's the scary part. And nowadays with AI and with the massive increase in compute power, you hear about Palantir in the news and the billions of dollars of government contracts they're getting now. And Palantir is essentially a data AI mining powerhouse. Well, if they plug Palantir into all the previous reverse warrant data they slurped up and hoovered up, well, they can make some pretty scary correlations and triangulations between an innocent person who's just going about their business and whatever they're looking for in their latest data study. So it's not just about the single investigation. It's about, should the government have that massive amount of non-warrant data collected on broad Americans?
I mean, that is going to be the big question, because while the House passed this bill, now it goes on to the Senate. They're going to have to take their own fine-tooth comb and comb through this to decide if they want to move forward with it as well. And then it also has another layer to get through after that. The last part that you were just talking about there, that really leans on geofencing. I'm learning the terms. But with the keyword search, one thing that I thought was interesting, you mentioned like the abortion clinics. If somebody was just trying to search for help, like let's say they wanted to look up abortion pills, but they might be in a state where abortion is banned, could this potentially put them in a pickle, a legal pickle?
So maybe. When they do a broad search, that's a great question. So when they do a broad search like that, a geofence search for a keyword, the tech companies like Google usually returns anonymized data first. So it's a hash or some mathematical fuzzying of your identity. They're not going to give a list of these 500 people were at this square block in Philadelphia or New York. It's going to be a little bit more broad. And then the authorities will sort through that broad quasi-anonymized data and say that record right there, that's the one I'm looking for because it matches these other data points they have. So there is a slight layer of fuzziness there. However, depending on how the big tech companies de-identify the data, which is the term, it may be able to be linked to other reverse warrant searches or geofencing searches later on. So say you get an anonymous ID, you are person 123, but then later they see 123 at a different location, they might be able to connect those two dots. So there's a a lot of unknowns on how the actual data is returned, but I could absolutely see ways where it could violate your privacy even years down the line.
All right. Well, Harry, thank you for helping us try to make some sense of everything that's going on here in Delaware. For those of you residents who may be watching with us and viewing this in the comment section, we're on TikTok right now, so a lot of people are actually talking and chiming in as you were talking. For those of you guys who are interested, this is House Bill, I believe, 145, if you want to go look it up. Again, the House did go ahead and pass it, but it still has to get through the Senate. I suggest you read up on what it is, what it isn't, and maybe this interview will help you get through it as well. Harry, thank you for your time and for your expertise as always.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
No problem. All right, you guys are watching Philadelphia Live. When we return, we have an incredible interview coming up. We're going to talk to a young man who is doing his best, his thing out in NASCAR. And as you all know, we just lost the legend, the giant, Kyle Busch. This guy was a fan. So I want to talk to him about, how he's moving through this, how he's getting through it, what he thinks of this news. We'll talk about all that and more when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray, streaming for you guys from Philadelphia. We've got news coming in from everywhere. Now, earlier today, Fox News had been reporting that Kyle Busch had been admitted to a hospital. He had been suffering from what his family said was a severe illness. And then just a couple of hours later, we got the huge news that just shocked and shook the world, that he died at the age of 41, which is extremely young. So I want to bring in a fellow NASCAR driver to talk to us a little bit about, the legacy. We heard him say that he was a fan. I want to introduce you all to LeVar Scott. LeVar, thanks for making some time for us.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. Sorry, it sucks to have to talk to you guys on these conditions, but thank you guys.
Of course. And I mean, let's start with that. We saw it on social media. You had talked about how you were a fan. You were at a complete loss for words. Have you gotten to find the words yet?
Definitely not. It still just hit us. I found out probably 2 hours ago now, and it's hard. It's really hard. Kyle Busch was something I can't even explain for this sport. For many, for team owners, for drivers, young drivers growing up, someone I look after. A few years ago, he had a truck team, and as a team that one day when I grew up and got of age, I wanted to race for. So yeah, this is definitely a hard moment right now for myself and everybody in the industry and even outside the industry.
I mean, let's get into that. I saw some older pictures when you were a kid. It seems like you kind of always knew that you wanted to do this. So when you see someone like Kyle, who's a two-time champion, who's doing a lot of big things, does that in any way make you feel like you can do even more?
No, you can't do much more than what Kyle Busch has done in the sport. He has over 230 wins in NASCAR, two-time champion, raced for Joe Gibbs, raced for RCR now. No, there's no comparison that I could ever have to Kyle Busch, or no amount of talent that I can come close to Kyle Busch. I know that. When I said earlier, he was definitely somebody that we all looked up to. I truly, truly meant that. Guys older than Kyle Busch, younger than Kyle Busch was the standard in every series he got in. So I definitely will make a way and path for myself and be successful, but I would never, ever come close to Kyle Busch's talent. There's no way.
I think that speaks to your humility, because I was just trying to get whether he had encouraged you to, try harder in the sport. But for you to take that time and really give him his flowers, I think speaks to the kind of person that you are.
Yeah, for sure.
What would be, if you had one, like a nice memory or a race that you saw, just something that stands out about him and his career for you?
That's hard. I mean, he just won a race last weekend at Dover. He literally just won the last truck race at Dover last week. There's been plenty of races that Kyle Busch just stand out. I mean, if you go watch the truck races from now to, back in 2001, every truck race that Kyle's in, you're looking at him and seeing what he's doing, and somehow, how is he going to win this race? Because he just won races out of nowhere. I wouldn't say there's definitely one race that stood out to me. He's won at Texas more than 10 times. So every race there to watch him was pretty cool, just how he made it happen. It doesn't matter if he's 12th on the last lap. Kyle Busch seems to find a way to get the win done. So there's definitely nothing that stands out to me, but it is pretty remarkable that just last week, the last truck race that we have, he ends up winning, and then obviously this happened. So it's pretty surreal. It hasn't even hit me yet fully that this has happened. It's Kyle Busch, man. It was Kyle Busch.
Absolutely. I mean, this weekend, we know a lot of people knew that he wasn't going to be able to race in the Coca-Cola 600 because he was sick. But I'm sure all the fans that get out there now have even more of a reason to be thinking about him while they're up there in those stands. And just you, as somebody who you knew you wanted to do this from a young age, you're finally out there, you're getting it done, you're doing a pretty dang good job for yourself, by the way. I just wonder, for the younger people who are coming up, who maybe they did get to see a Kyle Busch in their lifetime, or maybe they don't get to see him, what are you hoping that his legacy leaves behind for them?
Just hard work. You can be never going to be that successful, but you can have a good career with doing what you love for a good portion of your life. He made his first start in 2001 and won in 2026, and he's still winning races. It just shows dedication. If you're really dedicated to a certain sport or whatever industry you're in, and stay after for as long as you want, you can be successful for as long as you want to do it. And he showed that in and out, whether it was off the track. He had his own truck team. He ran it and was one of the most successful truck team owners there was. And then he was still racing every single day on Sunday and win the races in the Cup Series. So it just shows with hard work, you can really do anything you want. And that's something that I apply to my daily routine. And I look at guys like Kyle Busch and other people in the sport to kind of have that mindset. And it just makes you push even harder and know I can get it done.
Love it. When you said you were a fan, you meant it. You know your stuff.
Yeah, sure.
LeVar, you're from South Jersey. What exact part?
It's from Coney's Point, which is in Kingsgrove, which is right over the Commodore Bay Bridge and Delaware Memorial Bridge.
We love to see it. Thank you for making some time for us here on Philadelphia Live. Try to touch base on everything that's going on. And when we all heard this news, I mean, that was obviously the top of mind for every single person in this newsroom. But we appreciate you for making some time for us here.
Thank you guys so much.
No problem. All right. Hope that he does really well in his own race this weekend. He has to carry that with him as he's trying to get himself ready for Saturday. But I also want to things over to our meteorologist, Drew Anderson's on standby. Last time we talked to Drew, one of the big things that we talked about was the potential for hurricane season, or at least we got some notification that there were new things coming out. So talk to us a little bit about what you got there, Drew.
Yeah, I'll give you the rundown. So this came out from NOAA a little earlier today, and they walk through what you can plan for in terms of hurricane season. The reason for that is it starts on June 1st, and I'm looking at the calendar right over there. That's right around the corner. It is Memorial Day weekend, after all. So take a look at this. This is walking through a season where NOAA, and by the way, that's the parent of the National Weather Service, they say this will be a below average season for tropical storms and hurricanes. 2 thumbs up right there. So you see the average numbers versus their forecast. So we'll just kind of walk through everything. So things that actually get a name, and speaking of names, I happen to have all the names for what's happening for the upcoming year in terms of tropical storms and hurricanes, just to kind of give you a feel for what's coming down the line, what'll be some of the big stories come the summer. Some of those names will be big storms, other ones not so much. So in terms of named storms, we're talking tropical storms and hurricanes, the NOAA Forecast Center, the National Hurricane Center, says plan for 8 to 14. Well, on a typical season, you actually get around 14. So that's coming in below average. Then in terms of hurricanes, on average, you get about 7 hurricanes. But they're saying, no, it's actually going to be less than that. In terms of the big boys, we're talking a Category 3 up to Category 5. They plan for 1 to 3 for the upcoming season. On average, you end up getting about 3. So that's what's on tap. And the reason they're saying it's below average, it's because of El Nino. Remember when we first started hearing about that in the 1990s? There was even a skit on SNL. It was Chris Farley. You remember Chris Farley? He's kind of a bigger dude. And he was like, I think all naked. And he goes, I am El Nino, which is Spanish for... He didn't know what it's Spanish for. So he goes, the Nino. And this was like a buzzword that started trending in the 1990s when the meteorological science first kind of picked up on this sort of stuff. You know what an El Nino is? In fact, I think I even got a graphic in here I was playing with a little bit earlier. An El Nino, by the way, it just means warmer than average water in the Pacific Ocean. So off the coast of Peru, so I'm going to spin the globe a little bit and I'm going to show you Peru right there. That means warmer than average water. Here's why we care about that, because that could not be more far away from Philadelphia, right? Well, that shifts the jet stream, and the jet streams are tracked for weather, and the jet streams also are buried between cold and warm air. So if you move the jet stream, well, that certainly can mean you get colder than average weather, you get warmer than average weather, or you can get more storms, less storms, stuff like that. So in terms of hurricanes and tropical storms, what an El Nino does is it leads to stronger winds, and they're blowing like high up in the sky, and that's the enemy of a hurricane. Hurricanes hate when winds are coming from different directions because that brings in drier air. Well, it's a hurricane. It's a big area of rain. So what does it not want? Drier air. Now, the ocean water will stay warm this year, which would usually mean more hurricanes, but with more of that El Nino pattern, because the jet stream shifting and stuff like that, you're going to end up getting some of the weather that's a little more warmer than average at the ground, but with the dry air coming in aloft, well, things change a little bit from there. All right, so let's get into the forecast a little bit. I'm going to rewind the graphics and just kind of talk about the Memorial Day weekend. First and foremost, I want to bring it back home, and I want to get you started in Montgomery County. And look at this, just moments ago, I just got this picture in. My friend just took it out his window. A little tease of sun. If only we could have that sun for the weekend. So conditions have definitely improved. I want to take you right now and show you live in Wildwood where we had Kathy Orr today. She began her oar down the shore in Wildwood. Look how the boards are now dry. A little bit earlier on Fox Local Philadelphia during our 3:30 hour, she was dry then, but then in the 4 o'clock hour, we're starting to rain down there. Still a little windy with winds coming in off the east, so it's breezy on the beach, but it's not breezy inland. Temperature still chilly in the 50s. You're taking a look at Olman Doppler radar. Still a couple showers left on the board, but not as much green as we once saw. So just some showers in parts of New Jersey right now and Delaware, and a little sprinkle here and there in Chester County. As the evening goes on, we're going to see this green continue to shift more and more into New Jersey and Delaware, and that's pretty much the story for the rest of the night. We're dry in Pennsylvania, but there's more scattered showers to come across Delaware and New Jersey. I'm going to stop things during rush hour, so if you live in New Jersey, you live in Dover or south of Dover, you're going to run into some rain when you hit the road if you are working or going to school on Friday. Now, everyone else is in great shape. As for the rest of the day, oh, watch this after 7 o'clock. We got drier weather, and most of Friday is dry. Temperature-wise, a little bit on the chilly side. We're stuck in the 60s. It's all because of airflow coming in off the ocean. The ocean right now is around 60 degrees. The air above it is around 60. And if the air coming in off the ocean and coming inland, you know what it does? It brings in that 60-degree air. So look at our temperatures as we look in Cumberland County for your forecast on Friday, right around 60 degrees. So it's a chilly day for most of the day. Let's turn over to future clouds, future radar for the rest of the day, just to show you how dry it is for so much of the day. Look at that. The clouds even breaking up just a touch to tease you around lunchtime, but it's only a tease. Look what happens as we take you toward dinner time. Some rain starts moving into Delaware and South Jersey. This is 7 o'clock, and I'm keeping an eye on the forecast because we have a Phillies game at 6:40. So toward the end of the Phillies game, we will get just a touch of rain rolling into Philly. It'll be light though, so I suspect they'll get the game in, but we'll keep an eye on Doppler radar on your Friday for you in case you're going down to the game. But check this out though, as we get closer to midnight, the radar fills in, and that's a sign of what's to come because it's a wash on Saturday. But before we get there, let's talk more about the fills. Temperatures go like this, right around 60 for the first pitch, and for most of the game dry, but right toward the tail end. Let's call it the 8th and 9th inning. We'll get some showers that'll be light to roll in. I bet they'll still roll in with the game and not delay it or cancel it or anything, but they'll have enough of the game in. If it is an issue, they'll be like, no big deal. I think as long as you get to the 7th inning, you're good to go. As for the rest of the weekend, Saturday's your day you want to do something inside. It's rainy all day. You're not doing something outside. It is just too much of a wash. This is your day to catch up on movies, if you want to go to the theater, or, just catch up on some of your shows, or, hey, when's the last time you cuddled up with a book? That sounds pretty good for Saturday. Saturday's going to be one of those days where it's like, I don't feel like doing anything. You just kind of want to grab a chair because the weather's lousy and just kind of want to lounge and just do one of those. That's Saturday. Sunday, you might feel that way in the morning, but you won't feel that way all day because I'll tell you why. The second half of the day is dry. So after a wet start to our Sunday morning, it's dry for the afternoon. After lunchtime, there's no rain. So you're good to go if you got some plans Sunday afternoon outside. It's still cloudy and it's still cool in the 60s, but compare that to the temperature on Saturday in the 50s. Now for Monday, for Memorial Day, it is looking dry. And that is the forecast. And because it's drier and we'll get just a tease of sun, it's a mainly cloudy day, but just a little break of sun here and there, we'll have a temperature around 7 degrees. So because it's drier, that's why the temperature is going a little higher. And also that influence of that ocean air, it's not a factor after Saturday. So in the 7-day forecast, I'm liking what I see once the work week gets started, once the school week gets started. Give us some sunshine. We'll give you some 80s. So, it's still rather cloudy on Tuesday, but there's enough sun breaking through the clouds, so we'll get you back up to average. Average this time of year is in the mid-70s. Then, with all that sun, it is hot. But what a contrast in that 7-day. Just think about this. We had a record-setting high of 98 degrees on Tuesday, and look at the temperature on Saturday, 56 degrees. What did we do this year? It seems just over the last 2 months, we keep going back and forth on the temperature. We get super warm days, and then all of a sudden, back to the cold weather. But as for your weekend, this is how it looks. Dry for most of the day on Friday until after dinner time. That's when showers roll in from the south. Saturday, it's rainy all day. That's the lousy day of the weekend. Sunday, it's pretty wet in the morning, but it's dry in the afternoon and evening, so we like that. And it's looking dry for Memorial Day Monday. So there you go, Judea. That's what's going on with the weather in terms of the weekend and also in terms of looking long-term into the hurricane season. Generally, we see a lot of hurricanes get going in late August, September, early October, but officially hurricane season, as we were chatting about, starts in just a few weeks here. June 1st, it's coming up before you know it.
It is coming up. It makes me a little nervous. In our area, do we actually tend to see those tropical storms hit us?
Yeah, you know what we do? Well, generally, we get the remnants, we get the leftovers.
Gotcha.
Oftentimes, Judea, it's not robust. Like, say, you were down south, so like in Atlanta and down that way, you guys will get the tropical storms. By the time they get up here, it's just kind of the leftovers. It's still really humid, we still get lots of rain, and it actually still brings in tornado potential because one of the unique things about tropical storms and hurricanes is when they first come on land, they can spin up some weak tornadoes. And around this area, there's like a little geographical influence that when we get tropical remnants, for whatever reason, I don't know the answer. I don't even know if any scientists know the answer yet. We're just more prone to getting tornadoes in those patterns. So myself, Kathy Orr, Sue Serio, Scott Williams, we get particularly concerned when we do get some of these tropical remnants for the potential of tornadoes, and that's something we watch closely. So bottom line is this, I would say September, plan for a little tropical action in some capacity rolling into our area here. Until then, I expect us to be pretty quiet, and as you heard, it's a below average year for hurricanes and tropical storms.
All right. Thank you for keeping us aware, informed, and also entertained. Again, I love
That's what
your
I'm here
forecast,
for.
Drew.
Sending
we'll
love
be touching
back.
base with you somewhere in the 9 o'clock hour as well. So if you guys missed any part of this forecast, don't worry. You'll get to see him again, and maybe some things may have changed. We'll be touching base on all of that. And still ahead, heard that District Attorney Larry Krasner actually announced some charges against scammers accused of targeting the elderly, our senior citizens, not for just a couple $100s, not even for just a couple thousand, for over $1 million, you guys. How they were getting to our senior citizens, we'll talk to you about that and more when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. This is a very big story that the Philadelphia District Attorney actually broke today. He said that he had charged about 5 people accused of defrauding our senior citizens, about 150 of them, out of a lot of money. And he says that the majority of the victims were actually older black women. The oldest victim in this case was 90 years old. So during a press conference, he was joined by a couple of other law enforcement officials, able to talk to us a little bit more about what this case really entails, how they're going after these people. I want to let you guys listen in. We'll listen in together.
50 plus seniors were victimized, and they were victimized for a lot of money. We'll be getting into the totals. But the total is going to be in excess of $1 million, probably in excess of $1.5 million, and that's only based on what we know so far in this ongoing investigation. Today, we're announcing the charging of people for the victimization of 35 seniors, a bank that ended up having to cover a lot of losses. That's 36 victims, but I said 150. There's a lot more to come here when we speak of additional cases. 5 of the individuals responsible for these crimes have been arrested. There are additional warrants out there, so more arrests are coming. And we have already, thanks to the excellent work of prosecutors in this office and their partners in the U.S. Postal Service and in the Philadelphia Police Department, and also our DA's detectives, we have already obtained, in the case of one of these defendants, Anthony Ringgold, a bail of $1.8 million, Winston Haynes, a bail of $1.8 million. Michael Turner, a bail of $5.4 million. Mark Chappelle, a bail of $5.4 million. And here's the other thing. That's with a Nebbia, that's N-E-B-B-I-A, a Nebbia order granted. What does that mean? That means they got to prove where the money comes from if they want to get out on bail. And it better not be crime, because they're not getting out. These folks are getting already what they so richly deserve. We'll get into the specifics in a moment. I am delighted to be joined today by a bunch of great people. We have ADA Alex Blumenthal, who is the chief of the DAO's Elder Justice Unit. We have ADA Jillian Dagres, who is with the DAO's Elder Justice Unit. Hidden from view, but not from our hearts, is Detective Luis Melendez, who is a DAO county detective here, played an instrumental role in this case, but for good reasons I think you can figure out. Doesn't need his face on screen right now. We have Mariel Dela Cruz, director of our DAO's Victim Services Unit, which has worked closely with victims in this case. Captain John Craig of Northwest Detective Division is here, and I hope we'll say a few words later. We have Postal Inspector Team Leader Kevin Voigt, who is here with the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. This has been a true collaboration. It has been an excellent collaboration, and everyone involved should be very proud of the role that they have played. Now, before I start introducing people, I have something to say. If you are a victim of the scheme that we're going to describe here, if you are a senior who has been victimized by this or any other type of scheme, we need you to call. We need you to call, and we have a hotline for that purpose, because this unit that we have works very closely with our partners on protecting you. The number is 215-686-5710. The number is 215-686-5710. We need your help. We know there are more victims of this and other scams against elderly people, even if you are not the victim yourself, if you're a witness, if you have knowledge. Sometimes victims get embarrassed for no good reason, honestly. They do. It's just how human beings are. But if you have knowledge of this or similar activity, we want you to call us. And that number is 215-686-5710. If you forget that number, call 911. Get a report going. We are here to support our seniors any way that we can. All right. At this time, I'm going to call up in the following order these 5 speakers. And I should tell you, I made the mistake of not mentioning the one who's on the way, still on the way, and that is Councilmember Anthony Phillips, who, as many of you may know, represents the 9th Council District, which is the Northwest. The Northwest and also Southwest are 2 of the primary locations where this victimization occurred. He will be here as soon as he can, obviously busy with other things, and hopefully we will have time to hear from Councilmember Phillips, who takes a deep interest in this, as does the mayor. This is something very important to the mayor as well, the protection of our seniors.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jillian DeGrasse, Assistant District Attorney in the Elder Justice Unit. I'm prepared to give more details about these crimes today that we are currently prosecuting. It's an ongoing investigation. We expect more arrests in the case. So this came out of a very successful collaboration between the different parties that have already been mentioned. Our office was receiving complaints through financial institutions, and then we discovered, because we have established working relationships with the police department and with the postal inspector's office, that Northwest Division and Southwest Division, I believe they'd already spoken, they realized that they were investigating the same scheme. And then they spoke with our office, and we realized that we were actually all investigating the same scheme. Not the same victims. That's how many victims there are. So this was sprawling across, we know, this mostly at this point northwest and southwest of the city, but it involves several financial institutions. Many of the financial institutions involved have been very good about reimbursing the victims. And then it's, we believe at this point, over 150 victims total. We are moving forward on the complaints that we are able to prosecute at this time, because we have a real concentrated interest in getting this group off the streets so they can stop committing this crime. What they are doing is they are working in concert with each other, using telephones, computers. We believe they have access to the mail. They're contacting older adults in the city by phone and impersonating public utilities, PECO, PGW, and the water department. At the same time, which is kind of a signature of these types of scams, at the same time as they're contacting the older adult saying, I'm calling from PECO, you just paid this bill for $185, there's a problem with your account. Now, these defendants actually knew the amounts that the victims had recently paid. So that lends credence to the claim over the phone that they're the public utility and they're coming to settle the account. They're sending somebody to the house. At the same time, they were calling these victims and impersonating financial institutions, Citizens Bank, and other financial institutions to which the victims belong. So they already knew some of the banks to which the victims belong. They're sending somebody to the house. They're getting debit card information from these older adults and the actual physical debit cards from them and getting their PINs. In many of the cases, they're also exchanging a fake card to the victim, so the victim believes that this is a legitimate exchange and that they're actually getting help from these individuals. Then these defendants are leaving and making quick withdrawals from these accounts. In a lot of the cases, they're contacting the financial institution where the victim has an account and asking for increases of limits, so that they can take out maximum withdrawals before the bank catches it. They're doing that to make personal purchases, buy sneakers, a new bag, things like that. They're also funneling it through tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of money orders. The Postal Inspector's Office has been very helpful to us in tracking those. Those money orders are going through the Postal Service, Western Union, supermarkets. And then they're doing transfers to their own personal and business accounts. We were able to arrest now. We have 5 of the individuals that are identified as part of this scheme. We believe that those individuals are really central to the scheme and really the architects of it. We also were able to confiscate, as part of our searches this week and the arrest this week, phones, debit cards belonging to victims, bank records, and a gun at one of the properties, an AR-15. So as I said, this is an ongoing investigation. It really only worked because we had all of these victims who were brave enough to contact the police and tell them what happened and to follow up with investigations with the police. Also, it really only worked because we have this good relationship with these detective divisions. We had built a relationship with the Postal Inspector's Office, and we really all work together as a team. These are not easy cases to investigate, and it's only because of the successful collaboration that we've been able to make these arrests. The names of the defendants. So, arrested and arraigned include Winston Haynes, date of birth November 20th of 1994. Michael Turner, date of birth November 27th, 1981. Anthony Ringgold, date of birth June 20th, 1982. And Mark Chappell or Chappelle, date of birth August 28th of 1986. Also arrested but not yet arraigned, is Daytwan Davis, date of birth October 10th of 1984. Mr. Davis has not been arraigned yet because when police went to execute the arrest warrant for him, he fled, jumped off a balcony, and he is now in the hospital. The bail amounts, I believe the district attorney may have addressed them, but the bail amounts for these individuals, for Mr. Haynes and Mr. Ringgold, they are each now at $1.8 million with the Nebbia order. Michael Turner and Mark Chappell are at $5.4 million each in bail. And again, they will have to prove to a court that any amount that they're using to pay to be released from custody comes from a legitimate source. And that's because we know they're taking all of the money from these victims and funneling it through their personal accounts. We don't want them using that money to get themselves out of custody. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Captain John Craig. The last name is spelled C-R-A-I-G. I'm the commanding officer of Northwest Detectives for the Philadelphia Police Department. Introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Kevin Voigt. I work for the United States Postal Inspection Service. I'm a team leader for the External Crimes team.
Just real quick, I want to speak real quick to any potential victims. I mean, first and foremost, I just want to thank our partners at the DA's office for the kind words and just the great partnership and the great investigative work by all involved, and in particular Detective Melendez from the DA's office, as well as all the detectives from Southwest, Northwest, and postal inspectors as well. Just great police work led to this. I just want to real quick speak to any potential victims. If any of this seems familiar and you're hesitant to come forward, I implore you to please come forward. You can contact 911 to have a police report made up, or you can contact Northwest detectives at 215-686-3353, or Southwest detectives if you live in that part of the city at 215-686-3183. As I said, it's very important for you to come forward. Please do not feel embarrassed. The only way to get justice is the wheels of justice rolling is to get that report generated so we know exactly what happened so we can begin to work that case. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So, I mean, as you were listening into the details of this case, how they were able to figure out what the system was, it is extremely intelligent. And by intelligent, I mean like the way that they're able to give you that phone call first and suggest that there's something wrong with your account or that you need to pay some money. People may know that, no, I already paid, so I'm okay. But then having someone physically show up to their homes, you can imagine that adds pressure. With all this stuff that's coming out, keep your eyes on the older folks in your life, your loved ones. Just make sure that they're good. If there's anything that's going on, if they've given their card information to anybody recently, just check on them. So again, they said that they have made those 5 arrests, well, 4, and then the one who's in the hospital who eventually will be officially charged. That is what we're getting out of that situation. Look, we still have to take a break. We're going to take about 2 minutes. When we come back, we're going to talk about some trending topics. What's Philly talking about? And then maybe we'll get into our question of the night as well. You guys don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I want to know what you guys are looking for. What are you searching? What are you watching? What are you reading? So I brought Jake Leonard, who's like the master of all things digital social media.
Thank you very much. You know, we have a lot of heavy news tonight, so
Yes,
I wanted to bring you some lighter, pop culture entertainment news.
Yeah, who said the news couldn't be good?
Exactly. So starting out with something that's really fun, something I'm really, really excited for. Philly's own, you know her, you love her, Quinta Brunson.
Yes, we do.
Yes. She announced on Instagram she's going to be developing and starring in a Betty Boop movie.
I saw this yesterday while scrolling. I follow her, so I want to say about 11 minutes on the dot after she posted it came up on my timeline. And I was like, yes, absolutely yes.
Yes.
Like if anybody should play her, she kind of looks like her too.
She does. You know, like the iconic like red dress and like the big hoops, like and the
Big
hair. Like
eyes.
Quinta can so pull it off, and I love the fact that she's not only like starring in it, she's developing it. So
Yes.
it's gonna be her vision, and I feel like she is someone who's such a visionary. And when she really has her mindset to a project, you know it's gonna be great. Obviously, this
Absolutely.
is something she really wants to do, so I think it's gonna be really cool.
I mean, we've gotten to see her trajectory. I don't know if she started with BuzzFeed, but I think that's when a lot of people got
Yes.
to know her.
Yes.
So you saw the goofy side, but also how she could produce.
Yes.
And then Abbott Elementary, where she's writing, producing, directing, like
Yes.
doing all the things, and
Yes.
acting in it.
Yes.
And now Betty Boop.
Yeah, she's amazing. It's gonna be a huge deal. And you
Mhm.
know, she was just recently talking about Sue Serio. We know
Yes.
she loves Sue.
Yes.
Fox 29, so maybe we can get her in to do some sort of interview.
Quinta, if you would like to do an interview here on Philadelphia Live, you are always welcome. We love you. We welcome
We
you.
would love it.
Yes, I got all the questions for you, girl. Especially with this.
Yes.
It's such an iconic storyline as well. A lot of people know the character.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of people talking positive and negatively about
course.
her portrayal in
Yes.
particular. But I'm interested in seeing what life she breathes into it.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a creative, new
Yes.
breath of fresh air. You
Mhm.
know.
And I wonder who else
So,
would be in it as well.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. So, what else are people talking about today?
Okay, so I'm a big music person. I feel
Me
like I'm
too.
always talking about streaming or whatever. Big news from Spotify. Okay, so they announced today on X. We have the posts right there. That they have a new feature. So it's called Reserved, and so basically, what they're doing is when there's someone who you're one of the top listeners for, and they announce they're going on tour, Spotify will take some of those tickets and put them aside for the top fans to ensure that they get seats, this is so interesting because this is something that people have been talking about and asking big companies like Spotify to do forever. It's like now if you want to go to a concert,
You gotta fight the pots
you
first
have
and
to-
foremost.
Yeah, you have
just
to
to
like
get a
be
ticket.
jumping through hoops. It's like you got to do the pre-sale,
Mhm.
and then you need to do the on-sale, and then you need some sort of code. Like it's almost impossible. So I think the fact that Spotify is doing something like this to ensure that real fans, top fans, get tickets to see people that they love. Like I think that's a really cool thing that they're doing. Hopefully it can stay good. I don't know. I guess we'll see, but I think the idea is there, and hopefully it inspires more things, because people should be able to see live music, the people that they love, they want to see. And speaking of that, we have really exciting news. So we touched on this a little bit earlier, but there's a big concert coming to Philly on the 4th of July. Okay, the Mayor Parker announced this today.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yes.
I saw and I heard.
Yeah, so on the Parkway, some of the biggest icons are going to be performing for us to celebrate America 250. So we're going to have Christina Aguilera. We're going to have Will Smith.
Honestly,
We're
gotta
going to
stop
have
there.
yes, we're going to have The Roots.
Uh-huh.
I won't spoil the rest of it. We have a couple other good
He
people.
might not, but if you stay on long enough with me here on Philadelphia Live, I sure will. Keep going.
So just go to our website. We have an article up, fox29.com. You can get details about it. But yeah, it's a free concert. It's on the Parkway. 4th of July. Like what else can you ask for? So
Yeah, if you were looking for plans, I mean, look no further. It is free. So why wouldn't you go?
Yes.
I believe they're going to be doing stuff all day long, and then of course later on, as you mentioned, they're going to have those different performances, which is going to be really, really fun. Speaking of Will Smith, and did you say Jazzy? Did you say that? Did I miss you say Jazzy Jeff? Okay. We're not gonna say it. Well, you may have heard me, but just like bringing back that Fresh Prince vibe.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited for it. So we're always asking people what they think. We want them to weigh in on the conversation. So we ran a poll. You can find it fox29.com/go vote, always under the Fox Local tab. And so basically we just are asking, what do you think of the July 4th concert lineup? So right now, I know 55% of people are disappointed. 36% are happy with it. 9% say, I'm not sure.
Jake, that flipped from the first time you came out here. More people were happy. So, okay, I understand everybody has their own flavor of who they would like to see. But for the people who said they were disappointed, are you seeing them suggest anybody that they would have liked to see come out? Who?
Yes, so we have, I'm pulling up our Facebook page. Okay. So one person said, should have been Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is an icon.
Yes, he is.
Someone else said, it's a disgrace. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Someone said, disappointed is an understatement. This person said, though, they're very happy with it. They're excited to see Will Smith come home. They're excited to get a little like Stina action. So even in the comments, you can see it's kind of a mixed bag,
Okay. And you know what? I respect your differing opinions. And because first of all, I would like you to keep commenting. Let us know how you feel.
Yes.
Weigh in, voice off, all that good stuff.
Yes.
We may be able to read your comment live here on Philadelphia Live. But wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, people are always going to have thoughts. Like, you can't make everyone happy. But
You're not going to please everyone.
Yes, I think it's a great lineup, personally, and I think it's very Philly. The whole thing screams Philadelphia. So I feel like,
I think so.
We couldn't celebrate America 250 July 4th in a better way, so I'm excited.
Well, hold on, don't say that. We could celebrate it a better way because I will be live streaming on July 4th. I'd love to have you all joining me. We'll be talking about all the big news. Yeah. We may even be able to take you out to some of the fireworks shows happening all across the United States, maybe even some happening across the world.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Well, you'll have to tune in.
You'll see what we bring you all. Thank you so much, Jake, for bringing us what's trending out there now and also going over our question of the night. You guys keep voting. As he mentioned, that Go Vote is still available, and we want to hear from you. All right, still ahead. Big story here. On election night, it was like all over everywhere. We heard that there was some sort of explosive device that was detonated very close to a polling site. And at the time, law enforcement officials, they were trying to say that this had nothing to do with the election. Is that still the song that they're singing? And, what more do we know about the people who may have done this? We actually have identities on both folks. We'll be talking to you about what happened, what we know now when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. We had some very big news earlier today. They announced the identities of the folks that they were looking for when it comes to that explosive device that was detonated near the Lehigh County polling site. We reported on this on election night on Tuesday, and then we were just trying to figure out who would have done this, why would they have done this, were there any arrests made? Earlier today, we found out that a father and son duo were suspects in this case. So Matthew David Pletz, he's the father that we're talking about here. He was taken into custody at his home shortly after the incident, but for a while, law enforcement said that they were still trying to find his son. Now, right before the show, just a couple of hours after a news conference, we actually got word that the son, Jack Pletz, had actually surrendered to Pennsylvania State Police, and he was in the process of being arraigned. So when you hear this press conference, I just want to let you listen in as they announced who this father and son were, what exactly they believe happened at that polling site. I want you to understand that they're talking before the son was taken into custody.
Motivation was in this case.
At this point, we don't have any insight into the motivation, so the answer is I don't know, and we're not going to speculate on it.
Two quick questions. So if you don't have motivation, why are you saying that it's likely that this really wasn't related to the polling place, being that this blast happened, a block and a half away?
Well, we're not saying that it is or is not. What we're saying is that the investigation hasn't revealed any evidence to support that. So without the evidence, we don't make a statement on it.
Do you have any reason to believe that Jack Pletz is a danger to others?
Based on the evidence of the case, it would support the fact that at one point he was in possession of homemade explosive devices of the type M that we've described, and in the truck that he was driving there were 17 additional ones. So that speaks for itself. Whether he's a danger to other people now, that's something we don't know because we haven't seen him or had been able to take him into custody since the date of the incident.
How were you able to get, I guess, put the father in custody but not the son?
The father is in custody because he was present and law enforcement was able to encounter him and take him into custody on the 19th. When they did that, the son was not present and was not been able to be taken into custody, and he has not returned to the residence at which we believe he lives.
And is the father cooperating with you guys on where his whereabouts may be?
Well, the father is in jail, and the father is entitled to remain silent and exercise his rights to an attorney and such as that, so we're not questioning him about the whereabouts of Jack's. Father's been in jail since the 19th.
A few quick questions. Do these two individuals share a residence, or are they both in the community?
It's our understanding that they were living at that same address at the time the incident occurred.
Are you investigating, is it possible, are you investigating other explosions that may have been taking place in the Catasauqua area?
At this point, we're not. We're focused on this investigation and getting Jack Pletz into custody.
There's some neighbors that we've heard say, like, they've heard these kind of things before. Is there the belief that they have been doing this before, and this is just something that they unfortunately go around doing?
Well, I will tell you that part of the rules, the ethical rules that guide us as a prosecutor's office, as a prosecution team, is that we're not really permitted to speculate about other bad behavior by the people that we're talking about when we make public comments. So unfortunately, that's not a question I can answer for you. I hope you'll accept that explanation.
And then just to be clear, so investigators never spoke with Jack Pletz?
You are correct. Jack Pletz has not been interviewed or taken into custody since the incident occurred. You are correct.
He was just seen on surveillance video.
And by eyewitnesses. You are correct.
How long ago do you think these explosives were made?
I have no idea how long ago they were made. Don't know that, but like I said, the investigation is ongoing. There are people who specialize in that sort of thing. Whether they'll be able to tell when they were made or not, I don't know the answer to that question.
Did you find any in the home? You said you found 17 in the truck, in the green truck. Did you find any in the home?
There were none of the similar explosives found in the home. The home was searched with a warrant, but none of those same type of explosives were found in the home.
Were there any raw materials found or only complete explosive devices?
I think it's fair to say raw materials were found. Yes.
How?
Wait.
How?
No, I'll go. No.
Oh, if you could somehow explain an M-type.
Sure.
What other items are illegal that he had in possession, or are they available to purchase?
All of the things he's charged with are illegal. The thing that blew up in the street is illegal. The 17 devices found in the truck are all illegal. So they are not sold at retail establishments as what you would call firecrackers or fireworks of any sort, so they're all illegal.
How concerning is this? Obviously, you know, you don't believe, at least at this time, that it's maybe politically related. But how concerning is it that somebody in, you know, rush hour morning, just after 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, is doing this outside of a church or anywhere?
Well, you know, part of the answer to that is before you right here. How concerning is it? Look at what you see here. Look at the list of the people that I read off who participated in this. You know, not just the people who are here, but the canine unit was there, the forensic service unit was out, the federal authorities with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. I mean, it's very concerning. We were on the phone with the voter registration office here and their solicitors to make sure that we're complying with the law as well as keeping the polling place open and available. So while we don't know the motivation and we don't speculate on the motivation, the facts are very concerning, and that's why you see the approach, the full-scale investigation, and the public explanation as best we can provide it to you.
You would find, was there, you said there were no injuries from the detonation. Was there any property damage from the detonation? We've heard mixed reports about a car being damaged or even a fire. There's some speculation out there.
I'll be honest, I don't know the answer to that question. None of the charges include property damage. So if there was property damage that was done, my thought now is that it was minimal, if at all. Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, go ahead.
I read in the complaint about the 17 devices, the M-type,
Yes.
and then there was another more destructive device. Can you just kind of help us understand, so this M-type is more like a firework, and then what is this one other device?
Give me one moment, and I'm not sure that I can actually answer that question for you. I can't give you more detail on what that is. Quite honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen it myself, and I don't want to speculate on it. Yes?
Do you have a message for Jack? Is he facing a possibility of more charges if he doesn't turn himself in?
Well, the message for Jack would be that from our position, it's always safer and easier when you turn yourself in. That's the message for Jack. We don't talk about speculation about other things because we don't know what can happen in the future, and we don't know what else may turn up. So the investigation is ongoing, so to say, yes, there are additional charges or there are not additional charges would be inappropriate. But the answer, of course, is, you know, when you're a fugitive, things can get difficult, and anybody can arrest you at any time, and that brings a level of risk to everybody involved, both law enforcement and the fugitive who's being sought. So the recommendation is that you turn yourself in.
Has any other property or properties been searched besides the vehicle? And I don't know if the home was had alarm?
That's information that I would prefer to keep within the investigation. Yes, sir.
To speak again, was the initial report through 911 call, a citizen? How was it initially tipped off again?
Give me one.
It was a 911 call.
I think it was a 911, yes, so 911 call.
Can you describe the nature of what it is that you're continuing to investigate at this point? Is it just a matter of locating the son, or is there other matters still?
Sure, well, the investigation will include obviously locating the son and arresting him is the primary, but some of the questions you've asked that we can't answer yet are things that we're going to continue to investigate. How dangerous are the other devices that were in the vehicle? Was there a plan on what to do with them? If we can discover a motive, that will be something that we'd like to find out. We may not. So what we're doing is trying to be very careful with the words that we use, what we say, and what we know. So when we say there is no evidence that it was related to the election, that means exactly that. There is no evidence at this point that it was related to the election. Those are the things that we're looking into and will continue to look into, as well as you indicated. Were there other things that happened in Catasauqua that are related to this same thing? We don't know the answer to that, but we intend to find out.
Do these two individuals that have been charged, do they have a history that you guys are aware of with this kind of behavior in the past, or any other criminal conduct behavior that you can speak of?
The answer is one of the things that our rules require in order to guarantee a fair trial is not talking about prior bad behavior or criminal behavior of people who are charged with a crime in this setting. So unfortunately, I can't answer that question. I hope you'll accept that explanation.
Back to the similar to materials question, were there any plans or blueprints found at all? Anything to guide you, to instruct you as to how he put these together?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Do you believe Jack Putz is still in the Lehigh Valley?
I would say that if we knew where he was, he would be in custody. So that's not a great answer, but that's the answer.
With
All right.
respect to your office and your statement regarding past history, every single neighbor we spoke to in the past 2 days have complained about this family to Catasauqua Police and have told us that this has been going on for years and years, and nothing's been done. The explosions, trash collection at their house, they're disturbing the quality of life. Is there any kind of statement you can give to us on that?
I can tell you the same thing I told the other gentleman, that our ethical rules as prosecutors require that we not release information in a setting like this that will jeopardize a defendant's right to a fair trial. And I think answering your question would violate those ethical rules. Any other questions?
You said you have a picture of Jack for us?
Yes.
Is there anything else, like, does he have any tattoos or anything that we should, that, are notable? Heard a couple folks talking about that in the neighborhood.
I don't know, and what we're prepared to show you today is just a photograph of his face and interests, and the only reason we're doing that is because we're trying to find him, and we think putting a picture of him out there will help assist in that endeavor. Typically, if you know, we typically do not put pictures of people who are charged with a crime, but one exception we make is when they are a fugitive, when there's a charge is filed and there's a warrant for their arrest, and that's why we're doing it today.
Well, can I just one last thing, and you kind of hit on it a little bit. I mean, with the message to the general public, if they see him, run into him, like how dangerous that you believe that he may be at this point?
Great question, but very difficult to answer. The reality is what we know or what we believe that he did is have a homemade explosive device that was large enough if it was detonated near you to cause you serious bodily injury. Whether he has some of those with him now, I don't know. What his state of mind is now, I don't know. So you're asking a great question, but very difficult to answer. The last sighting law enforcement had him was by way of cameras on Tuesday the 19th. Today is Thursday. So what his state of mind is impossible for me to say. But I think that it is fair to say that the public should be cautious, probably shouldn't approach him. And if you see him, the best answer is to call either the Pennsylvania State Police or 911. Let's go ahead, sir.
What do you think?
All right, you guys, so you were listening in there as they were answering questions about this father-son duo. And as I mentioned to you before that started, so maybe you're just now joining us, that son has officially been found. He turned himself in. They say he surrendered to the Pennsylvania State Police just hours after that press conference. So they actually put his face out there. It was put all over the media. And one question that a lot of us have as we're just trying to learn more about this case is if everything that they're saying is true, if the father and son duo did make these homemade bombs, if they did detonate them near a polling site, why? What's the motive behind that? So far, law enforcement, they don't know the answer to that either. They say that right now they're unsure about what the motive was behind the incident, and they're refusing to speculate whether or not it had anything to do with the election. So that so far is what we have on that. If we get any more information, we'll try to bring it out to you. Now, another big thing that was happening that's also related to the justice system. Earlier today, Gregory Morgan Jr., he's an ICE agent from Minnesota. He turned himself in as well. He's wanted or was charged with apparently brandishing a firearm at motorists on a freeway or a highway out there in Minnesota. A lot of questions around, can he do that? Why would he do something like that? And they suggested that they charge him for that, suggesting that he should be charged with 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon for allegedly brandishing that firearm at motorists who passed through. So anyway, he did turn himself into police, but he was also joined by his attorney, who says that there's some things about this story that you don't know yet. I want to let you listen into that one too.
The public has heard only one side of the story through the charging document. We are confident that additional evidence, additional context, and the full circumstances surrounding this encounter matter greatly. And we all know how unfair it can be to only hear one side of the story. And that's what we've only heard so far, is one side, and in fact, one little bit of a much bigger story. We ask everyone, including commentators, activists, public officials, to allow this case to proceed through the judicial process calmly, responsibly, and based on all the evidence, not emotion or political narratives. We all deserve that, don't we? I'm not going to have Greg answer any questions at this point because there's an open criminal case, but I will take perhaps a few limited questions. Thank you.
Are there any other videos that you will investigate your client?
I don't know yet. I'm personally waiting for some more evidence from the Department of Justice, which takes a while. And of course, I haven't received yet the discovery from the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. We just filed for that a day or two ago. I would anticipate, because they charged this case out a month ago, that it shouldn't take them very long to get that evidence to me, but we'll see.
Does Mr. Morgan's training align with the actions that he took that day?
At this point, I'm not going to discuss his training or how this could play into the case until I have all of the evidence as well as certain materials I'm waiting.
Is anybody supporting Mr. Morgan's legal defense, either with his posted bond, with his necessity to travel here, and maybe he's able to travel home? Is there anybody that's supporting financially?
Well, he's an employee of the ICE agency, and the Department of Justice is a part of that.
Does he remain on duty, and has he been conducting his job since this incident occurred?
He does. He's been an 8-year law enforcement officer with no history of any crimes, no disciplinary history. He is known as a good officer, and he continues to be one.
Is there any, do you have any intention to file to have this removed from Hennepin County District Court to federal court because of the employment?
I will be filing a petition to remove to federal court. That's one of the key differences here, is that there's an allegation that he was basically ending duty and just returning. That wasn't the case. I have the time logs for the shifts that day. He was on duty for several hours after this incident. He was on duty when this alleged incident occurred and continued to be on duty afterward. And that is something that will play in fact to the petition to remove to federal court.
Ryan, we've learned virtually nothing from ICE agents about what Metro Surge was like from their standpoint. From what you've heard from your client, can you summarize what they experienced, what they felt they were up against, and whether they had the tools and the circumstances to succeed in their mission?
Those are great questions. So I'm not going to tell you what my client has told me for attorney-client purposes, but I'm a citizen of this community. I was born and raised here, and I've lived here my entire life. And I think anybody who's been on the ground in Minnesota for this past 6-month period is well aware of what's been happening, including but not limited to during Metro Surge, both in terms of some of the fears I think that some citizens were facing and some other alleged behaviors of law enforcement, if you will, but indeed also different varying scales of behaviors by citizens. Passive people who have just been watching from the sidewalk, people who have flooded the streets, people who have been blowing whistles, people who have gotten right in the faces of law enforcement, people who have threatened law enforcement, people who have been tailing their vehicles, people who have been keeping track of those vehicles with license plates and giving out advance notice, people who I think have intentionally agitated law enforcement, and people who presented either verbal or physical threats to law enforcement as well. The scale, right? I mean, we've seen, anybody who's lived here and been around this has probably seen all of that, to be fair. And there were a number of citizens who acted like we would all want to act, and then I think there were some other citizens who genuinely posed a danger or a perceived danger to law enforcement, whether they're state, local, or federal.
You mentioned that this wasn't his normal job. What is his
He's an ICE agent in.
We can't hear you when you.
He's an ICE agent in the removal, but his particular duties were not removal. Actually, one of the things that he likes about his employment is that he has the opportunity often to help immigrants stay in the United States, especially those without the most egregious prior offenses like murder convictions or the like. In a way, sometimes they function like a probation officer in that role, where they actually get to work with the immigrants, keep some tabs on them, and help them to actually do things constructively to stay in the United States. And that's part of his why as a law enforcement officer. And I want people to see that about him, because I think sometimes when we think about ICE, maybe an image comes to mind of somebody in jackboots or that enjoyed beating people up or shooting them or threatening them or was just out to find any immigrant and remove them. That's not who Greg Morgan is. That's not who a lot of these ICE agents were. And of course, you're going to get the whole spectrum when you get into any job: lawyers, doctors, law enforcement, you name it. There are a lot of good law enforcement agents out there, state, local, and federal. We need them. He was ordered up here for a job to do, and he is a servant. He cares about people. He's a good man in his community, and people are going to get to know a lot more about him while I'm representing him, but he is not who some people may think of when they think of ICE and they have this immediate negative reaction to who ICE is. That is not Greg Morgan that I've gotten to know, and I'm going to make damn sure that a jury knows about it if this case goes to trial.
Has your client been the victim of some of these things that you were listing off in terms of retaliation? Or?
I won't speak directly to him, but I would say that probably any ICE agent that was known to be an ICE agent on the ground during Metro Surge was experiencing some form of public retaliation from certain members of the community. I think citizens were afraid for their own safety, in the community, and I also think that there were a number of law enforcement that were rightfully concerned for their own safety during these operations as well. And I don't think that's unique to Greg Morgan, but I think it was a common experience for law enforcement as well as some citizens during this whole Metro Surge, which was really a pressure cooker.
Can you explain what you're doing here today?
Yeah, today, so he's going to post a bond right now. And then he's going to be booked because he wants to comply with the process. And then we're going to appear at 1:15 p.m. tomorrow in front of Judge Scoggin for a first appearance right over here in this courthouse.
If he were convicted of assault at the end of this process, can he remain a federal law enforcement agent?
That would be up to the federal government, but it would be tough with a felony conviction. You're not allowed to possess a firearm, right? There's a whole lot more to it than that. There's a whole lot more to it than his job. I mean, his job is a part of this. It is part of who he is, and he loves serving the community that way, right? But there's more to it than that. This is his honor. This is his name. People do not yet know what was going through his mind or what he was experiencing. And it's easy to get, I think, riled up and think, well, he allegedly pointed a gun at a vehicle that swerved at him, and that's it, right? But there's so much more to the story here. I can tell you, I can guarantee you that he meant no harm, and he did not intend to cause fear to those people. Okay, but you don't know what led up to this for him yet. And even if you look at the video and you look at it from perhaps his standpoint instead of these other drivers, maybe you'll start to come to some other thoughts about what he may have been experiencing and why he may have taken certain actions that I won't get into, but coming under threat in our community as well. He didn't know what these other people were up to in that vehicle. He didn't know who they were. He didn't know what their intentions were, other than, I would say, they violently swerved at him. And there's even more to it than that led up to it that nobody knows about it yet. That will come out later.
All right, so as you were hearing from the attorney, who is doing a pretty good job of trying to defend his client, one thing that he didn't get into is exactly what the accusation is. I'll do that. So they're saying that on February 5th, They're accusing Gregory Morgan Jr., that ICE agent that you're just seeing on your screen there. They're accusing him of, getting off of work. He's trying to leave. He's getting ready to cross the roadway, and they say a car comes and allegedly cuts him off as he was trying to pass. They say he then takes out his firearm and points it at the car. Now, again, these are complaints. These are accusations. The attorney, as you got to hear, says that not only is that narrative inaccurate, he says it's also incomplete. So they mentioned that about 1:15 they will be facing the judge. So we'll see what happens then. That is what's happening in Minnesota, though. We're going to bring things back closer to home right after this break. I want you to turn your attention to Kathy Orr, our meteorologist. It's a rainy last couple of days right before Memorial Day weekend. I want to know what the actual holiday looks like, though. So we'll touch base with her when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. This week has been the time for our meteorologists to shine. I mean, we got to see high temperatures, then we saw crazy rain and stormy weather, and now the holiday season's coming up, and all the people trying to get out there and have a good time are wondering, what is the weather looking like? Is it going to hold? Bring things over to Kathy Orr, who hopefully can bring us some answers. Kathy, what you got?
Oh, Judea, I mean, weather whiplash, right? Yesterday was 95. The day before was the warmest May temperature ever in Philadelphia. And today, struggling in the 60s, we knew that it was going to be this way. A temperature drop of over 30 degrees in 24 hours, and hence the turtleneck. I thought I was finished with this, but not so fast. Take a look at Ultimate Doppler. We do have some spotty showers in South Jersey. Down the shore today, I was in Wildwood. We had one passing shower, so we really lucked out down there. How lucky will we be? Well, lucky tomorrow and not so much on Saturday. So let's take you down the shore. It's only 58 in Wildwood. There is a breeze, winds out of the northeast at 13 miles an hour. Now, as we go through the overnight, you can see temperatures in the 50s, and with the cloudy skies pretty much staying there into the early morning hours of your Friday. For tomorrow, starting off upper 50s, ending up lower 60s. So temperatures just inching up extremely slowly tomorrow. And as we go hour by hour, a few showers possibly coming up from the south toward our southern shore points during the day, because we have a stalled front, and that's going to slowly lift northward for Friday, and those showers invade big time during the day on Saturday as that front lifts north. So what about the Phils game for tomorrow? It's dry for the first pitch at 6:40, and then by the latter part of the game, the later innings and when you leave, You could see a few showers by that 9-10 o'clock hour. As we go through the weekend, Saturday, rain all day pretty much, 50s. Then we see some morning showers and that front settles again. And by the afternoon, we should be pretty good on Sunday, at least dry. Monday, temperatures begin to rebound and we see some drying conditions. Monday, just cloudy skies, looking dry, but at least it's mild and you can get outside, right? Barbecue, picnic, it's all in the cards, especially for Friday and for late Sunday and Monday. So improving weather. Friday, 60s, 50s, that rainy, chilly November-like day for your Saturday, and then Sunday starting to bounce back and transition. The holiday looks decent but cloudy. Tuesday looks good, of course, and we jump 10 degrees between Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday, sunny, 86. Thursday, 80 degrees. So all in all, it's looking like a, I guess we could say half full kind of weekend. Something new that came out today from NOAA, the latest hurricane forecast from the National Hurricane Center. These are the hurricane names. The season begins on June 1st. The first tropical system will be named Arthur. And this is the prediction from the Atlantic hurricane season from the National Hurricane Center. If you look at the probability, the season probability, a big chunk of that pie, 55%, is leaning toward below normal activity in the Atlantic. So that's the good news. Forecasting 8 to 14 named storms, the average 14. Hurricanes 3 to 6, the average 7 hurricanes. And 1 to 3 becoming major hurricanes, the average being 3. So this is for the Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean. Once again, the season begins June 1st. It is right around the corner. We'll send it back to you.
Hey, Kathy, I was wondering this, pretty out there question, so, you know, if it's too far left, let me know. But we were wondering back here why we don't get to hear our names as hurricanes. There is an answer though, right?
There is a very good answer. So let's go back to the list and we'll have a hurricane name lesson. So these names are made up by the World Meteorological Organization. And if you notice, there's a pattern to these names. The most obvious pattern is if you look at the letter of each name.
Oh, yes, alphabetical order.
Yeah, so the first pattern is alphabetical order. The second pattern is if you read the name, you can notice if it's a male or female name. Arthur is a male, Bertha is a female, Cristobal is a male, Dolly is a female. So they alternate male-female. Now next year, we'll start with a female name and they'll alternate female-male. That's just to be fair. But if you look at the names are of American, French, and Spanish origin because those are the people that inhabited areas along the coastal waters of the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf. So that's why you'll see Cristobal and Eduard, of course, and Cristobal being Spanish. You'll see Fe, which you could call American. You'll see Isaías, which is Spanish. And then you'll see, let's see, Paulette, which is French. So you'll see all different types of names. Sally, Teddy, you could say are American. So that's what the names are taken from, those three origins.
Got you. Do they ever reuse any of their names? Like, would we ever see another Hurricane Katrina?
No, and the reason why we would never see a Katrina, we would never see an Andrew, the storms that are devastating and create like massive destruction or loss of life, those names are retired because of that, because of the trauma that the name has brought to the people of that particular area. So those names will be retired. But you will see storms that are not as serious. Those will be repeated every 6 years. So there are 6 lists of names, and unless a storm is devastating and the name gets retired, you'll see that storm name again.
Okay, hey, you learn something new every day. Ask questions because you never know how valuable that information is going to be. Kathy, thank you so much for entertaining the questions, but also keeping us informed. We appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, you guys, still ahead. We've been talking about it all day long. We want to know how you feel about this July 4th lineup. Some people are excited. Some people are like, that's it. So we'll let you listen in when we come back to the mayor make that full announcement. So you'll get to hear all of the people on that star-studded lineup, and then we'll talk about it right after that. We'll be right back. Welcome to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Philly is the place to be. No matter what you're talking about, that is always going to be the answer. But especially as it pertains to the summer. July 4th, America's birthday, America's 250th. We had to do it big. So Mayor Sherelle Parker from Philadelphia, she announced this star-studded lineup of concerts on July 4th. And we know some people are really excited, some people aren't quite feeling it. I want to let you listen in first to who she says we're going to see, and then we might be able to have some time to talk about it. Let's listen in.
Philadelphia's a Wawa town, don't you ever forget it. Come on over here. MDW, come on, MDW, you can't work. You gotta come over. You can work, but not there, over here. Chief of Staff Tiffany Thurman, come on over. On the other side of the flame. Thank you so very much, Chief Deputy Mayor Vanessa Garrett Harley. I want to say a special thank you to you and to everyone joining us here in this room as we formally unveil our line up for talent. But as I begin, I really need to say this. You can't do anything alone. And the amazing partners who have come together, who have led in this administration, I want you to know that I am very grateful. Philadelphia, as your mayor, you know that I am laser focused on delivering what I promised to you. And what I promised to you was to build a safer, cleaner, and a greener city with economic opportunity for all. And guess what? That is extremely important. But we also promised one Philly, to unify our city, to be a model for the nation. And I can't think of a better tool than art, culture, and music in particular to bring people from all walks of life together so that we can affirm our unity as we recommit ourselves to the democratic principles, democracy, those values that we stand on, and what we are going to do in our own personal lives to make this nation a more perfect union. And I think good music can help us do that. What do you all think about that? So, our One Philly Unity Concert for America, I want to say to this gentleman, and I can remember thinking about this, I don't know how am I going to get him to come back to do it. They did this work for many, many years, but I thought about one group and they're traveling the world and we see them on nighttime television all of the time. How are they going to fit us into their schedule? And then when I thought about him, I said, he's doing these big time events like the Super Bowl. Is he going to be able to come in and help the city of Philadelphia? I want to say to you, Scott Merkin of ESM, along with Sean G. of Live Nation Urban and our Philadelphia Roots, thank you for your leadership and coming back home to deliver this for us. So if this was going to be the kind of generational experience that people talk about for years, the kind of moment that captures the spirit of a city in an iconic moment, a milestone in our history, I had to be a little bit hands-on here, y'all. So I was just in it just a little bit. And so when you think about the One Philly Unity Concert for America, I want you to think bigger than just a concert. I want you to think about this as a full Philadelphia experience. The biggest entertainers, music, celebration, surprise moments, some that we have in store that we can't even tell you about right now, but when you eventually find out who some of them are, you're going to be excited that they are going to bring a different kind of energy here in our city. So Philadelphia, are you ready? So, when we started building the One Philly Unity Concert for America, I want to be really clear. We wanted legends. We wanted our hometown heroes. I don't care where you go and what you do in the world, you don't ever forget the people and where you come from. So hometown heroes were important, but we also wanted culture, and most importantly, we wanted to have a show that felt unmistakably Philadelphia in every way imaginable. And so while much of our performer lineup will represent Philadelphia, we also wanted the lineup to also reflect the sound and spirit of Pennsylvania. And that's why we are proud to announce, I'm even giddy just about to say her name. I am proud to announce that global superstar and powerhouse vocalist Christina Aguilera as our headliner. Yes, she will be bringing her incredible voice home to Pennsylvania for this historic night on the Parkway. And I want to pivot back to last year to West Philadelphia now. I don't know how many of you were with us out in West Philadelphia. We were actually doing the street renaming ceremony, honoring one of our city's biggest stars. And I had the pleasure, I don't know if you remember this, Chief Deputy Mayor Vanessa Garrett Harley, I had the pleasure of presenting him with the key to the city. And during that moment, and you all know me in typical Philly style, on the microphone, in front of everybody, outside of Overbrook High School, I asked him to make a promise. Make a promise to Philadelphia. A promise that when America turned 250, that he would come back home. I said, I know I see you, you're traveling the world, you're super busy, but will you come back home and help us celebrate the birthplace of American democracy? And on camera, he said yes. Now he said yes. And so, but you know me, I've been in government and politics a whole lot of years. I know sometimes what people say doesn't necessarily translate into what they do. And so I am proud, Philadelphia, to let you know that our native son is returning home to the city that shaped him and reuniting on stage in our city with DJ Jazzy Jeff. I am referring to none other than the star of Independence Day, returning to Philadelphia on Independence Day, Grammy and Academy Award winner Will Smith. We love you. Yes. Yes. It is Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff only on July the 4th, only in Philadelphia, and it gets even better. How can you get, can't y'all see me now? You should have seen the people dancing and shaking and jumping and moving. I'm gonna be ready, y'all. I'm gonna be ready to go. And listen, there is another act. Oh gosh, Jane Golden is not here. But when you, for those of you who know Broad and Olney, I don't know if you've traveled down Broad Street to take a glance over at our legendary and amazing, they're biased, a whole lot of them I think I see in this room. Whole lot of Girls High graduates that are here in the room. But this next artist, she represents the soul of this city. Grammy Award-winning artist, actress, and our own Jilly from Philly, Jill Scott. I know, I got giddy thinking about it all, like it's building, right? And then I want you to remember that serving as the heartbeat of this concert celebration will be Philly's own Grammy Award-winning musical innovators and one of the greatest live bands in the world, the Roots. Our roots. Our roots. Right now, listen, I've been thinking about the documentary. I don't know how many of you have been paying attention to Quest's work there. I don't care what anyone, you know, you all know that before I became the mayor, I thought I was going to be Roxanne Shante, like when I was in high school. Listen, the best MC, the best freestyle MC of all times is our Black Thought, and I am so super excited that they are going to be leading and helping us to produce, and it will be all brought to you by the Roots, a segment that's going to be solely Philadelphia. So can you imagine that? Philadelphia, produced by the Roots. Give it up for the Roots. Now, you know, you can't be the birthplace of American democracy in the greatest nation in the world without understanding that we do live in a global and international, we have to see ourselves as human beings as a part of a global community. And so we needed some international talent to come with us. So we are honored and we are welcoming international superstar and Grammy Award winning artist Seal will be in Philadelphia. And I know somebody is saying, and there's more. We've been thinking about July 4th in the past, and yes, it has been amazing, but we're still not done. Now, I know this lineup is big. And with a lineup like this, like, we needed somebody special who could help guide us through the night. Like, you can't get through a lineup like this without someone who could handle the moment. And I could only think of one person for the job. We have been working with her since our days in the City Council of Philadelphia on bringing professional women's sports to the city of Philadelphia. She is someone who I call both she and her wife, Alex, friends. I was so happy that she said, I want to be with you all during this historic moment. And I am referring to none other than Emmy Award-winning comedian, actress, producer, advocate, and a true friend to Philly, that's Wanda Sykes. We can't wait to see you, Wanda. And you all know you better be ready to laugh, right? She'll have us laughing. We are also proud to announce another major hometown reunion for us as the Philly Hip Hop Collective and Rockefeller Legends State Party will return to the stage, and our freeway will help to lead the way. State property, state property, state property. Give them a huge round of applause. What did I say, Vanessa? I said state party? I got politics on the mind. State property will be back home. Freeway, I can't wait to rock it out with you, Beans and the entire team. And then representing another iconic chapter of Philadelphia's legendary music legacy. You all know that we had the DNC here maybe about, I think it was a month ago. Philadelphia is one of the top 5 finalists. Trying to bring the convention back to our city, and we were talking about what could we do the last night before they leave the city. What could we do to make sure that they would? We are also excited to welcome one of music's actually fastest rising groups, And for me, when you talk about diversity in the city of Philadelphia, diversity is just not like sort of race and class and zip code. If you're talking about music and our legacy in the city, you have to talk about diversity as it relates to genres. And with that being said, one of the fastest rising groups, Infinity Song, whose soulful harmonies and growing global fan base have made them one of the breakout acts in music today. So give it up for Infinity Song. Now, no Philadelphia celebration is complete without some personalities that keep this city talking every day. I'm talking about talking every day and every night. They have a global following in their own right, and they are both sons of Philadelphia. And all I could think about, you all, was watching him when we were on our way to the Super Bowl. Thinking about him and how he inspired a great deal of energy and excitement, and then the motivation and inspiration that came from his right hand, two peas in a pod, I usually refer to them as, but I'm so excited that they will be with us. Philadelphia's chief influencers, Wallow 267 and Gilly the Kid.
So you can obviously hear how excited definitely Mayor Parker is, but of course some of the other people in the room as well. Just go back over that lineup. So it looks like Wanda Sykes is going to be the host for the event. We're also going to get to hear from The Roots. So, you know, if you missed the Roots picnic, this is a free event right here on the 4th, going to be incredible. It looks like we've got a royal reunion happening with Philly's Fresh Prince. Will Smith joining up with DJ Jazzy Jeff, and then of course one of my favorites, Miss Jilly from Philly. Jill Scott seems to be on the ticket as well. Then they got a couple of other people who are supposed to make some appearances. We may see some other performances. One thing for sure, Mayor Parker says that the announcements are not over. She actually says that there'll still be some coming out as we get closer and closer to the concert. Doors are supposed to open to the One Philly Unity concert at 3 p.m. By 5 p.m., the concert is supposed to get started. And they say they want you out there all night long because even at midnight, they're supposed to have fireworks. So if you don't happen to go out there, I just want to let you know that I